Oh, damn it.
Now that we're all day traders on the stock market, it feels very apropos for you to be indulging in such a delicatessen.
Yeah. I got the Highland Park 12. I went fancy because I'm going to be a Bitcoin billionaire in, I don't know.
All the money that I'm not spending on good beer, I'm going to invest back into Dogecoin.
Let's just pronounce it differently every time. I got a little bit of douche coin myself. Pretty exciting. Am I right?
The Dugan coin is up 30% so far today. It's fucking incredible.
The Doogie Howser, as we call it, has been doing quite well in the marketplace.
Oh my god.
Fuck, dude, Dogecoin to $1.
Did we add that article in about the Redditors renting the billboard in Times Square to say fuck you to the hedge fund?
Oh shit, no, I don't think so. But we might as well just talk about it now.
Yeah, that's fucking incredible. What a week, right? Like the irony of an app called Robinhood really being in the pocket of the banks is just...
It's absurd.
Should have seen it coming.
I mean, for the listeners unaware, and I guess we're just doing it because fuck it. We already had good pre-roll. The intro joke was wonderful. Anybody unaware that...
There was an intro joke? I must have missed that.
Oh, yeah. We're all very funny. I don't know if you guys know this. Dogecoin. Yeah. That was funny enough for me. I have low standards. There's a bunch of stuff that's going down, but just in case anyone has been living under a rock, a bunch of Redditors from our Wall Street bets got together this week and decided to do as much damage as they possibly could to a couple of hedge funds. And to give you the really skinny version of the story, they discovered that a couple of hedge funds, one of them, Melvin Capital, was shorting GameStop stock. They're basically betting on the fact that their stock is going under because the company is doing poorly. The pandemic notwithstanding, they were already going downhill, but the pandemic included, stores are closing, they're losing employees. So basically the hedge funds bet against this. And as the stock plummets, they can make a bunch of money. So these Redditors got together and decided to all collectively invest in GameStop and GameStop, thereby making those stonks go through the fucking roof.
Stonks.
And it essentially the short version of this long story is it makes these hedge funds go bankrupt because they have to pay those back out at what they are currently at now, as opposed to what they were at.
600 times the rate or something.
Yeah. And the amount of billions of dollars that they got fucked by is so insanely crazy.
Oh, God.
But the uproar was because I think another hedge fund invested a bunch of money in the one that was going under to try and save them. And then Robinhood and a couple other, I guess, brokers, as they're considered, because you buy through them, stopped trading on it, but only for the little guy, only for you and me. Apparently, a lot of these larger hedge funds and firms were still able to trade it freely. Hence, market manipulation. And again, I know the stock talk can be boring unless you're all in our 30s, because apparently it's exciting as shit now. They've then decided to start pushing other things besides GameStop. Anyway, we're all stonk owners now and about to be rich.
And
boys.
don't worry, Congress got on this within 24 hours, like they did with all those other horrible things that happened last year and the beginning of this year. They just got together and came to a resolution.
Did they actually do anything?
They didn't come to a resolution, but they had like an emergency. Yeah.
Yeah. But AOC is part of the what is it? The Chair Committee for Commerce.
So there's an actual surprising amount of politicians on either side of the aisle that are saying like, well, this is what happens when you bet and you lose, then you lose. Like it happened to them. Now it's happening to you and you have to deal with it. Of course, we'll just have to see what happens. I'm not particularly optimistic for the future of my newfound stockholding occupation, but I guess we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not placing a lot. That's why I didn't invest a whole lot of money. But I would say the only thing more universally hated than politicians themselves is probably the people who work on Wall Street. I don't even know why I have so much vitriolic hatred for them. But if we can all just collectively fuck them, then I'm all for it.
I saw a picture of a protest during the crash in 2008 that like the people on Wall Street were like laughing and taking pictures of people beneath
and drinking
them.
champagne
and
on the balcony.
I just started sweating on my fucking neck I just got beat red. Like, it made me so fucking angry just seeing like 3 pictures is all it was, and it enraged me immediately.
Yeah, because when they fuck up, we bail them out with our tax money.
Yeah,
but like, that'd be like if you went to a 7-Eleven, bought a bunch of scratchy lottos, blew your whole paycheck, didn't win anything, and then the guy behind you had to pay for your gas so you could get in your car and go home.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I get it. It's a totally sweet deal for them.
Yeah,
I mean,
like they also throw in like a few of those buffalo chicken taquitos we talked about. You know, like
delicious.
Only good at 3 a.m. when you're shit faced. Other than that,
the rule is if you're the guy who gives you those buffalo chicken taquitos always has some kind of male pattern baldness that looks like unnatural for his age, and he's always
alopecia going on.
He always has like a cough that you can't place whether it's phlegmy or dry, and he coughs directly into his arm as he grabs your taquitos with the other. That's why you go to Wawa. That's why you do it.
It's Schrodinger's cough. You don't know if it's wet or dry, and the answer, disgustingly, is somehow both.
Oh shit!
I have a question for the boys.
Hit me with it.
If you go to get gasoline in your motor vehicle, and you pull up and you say, I don't know, whatever, fill it regular, and you hand them a credit card. And he takes the card, he runs it, and then he takes the little squeegee out and starts doing your window, right? And we all know what that means. For one, obviously it means they're a little go-getter, but also they probably expect you to toss them a couple of shekels, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But the problem is, I just handed you a credit card because I don't carry cash on me. Mm-hmm. But then you finish running my card and awkwardly stand outside my car window for a second. What do you do in that situation?
I feel like this happened to you today.
It happened to me 2 times in the past 2 weeks. The same gas station, the same fucking guy. And today I handed him my card back and I was like, thank you. And I'm like, I just look over and put my card down. I look over, he's still there. And I was like, I don't have any cash on me. I'm sorry. And he was like, oh, it's okay. And I know in his head, he was like, fuck that guy. But I'm like, why am I supposed to feel bad?
No, not fuck you. Like that's like the homeless guy who cleans your window and makes it dirtier at the red light and then just holds his hand out. It's like we didn't sign a contract. I didn't agree to pay you to do this. There's no the goods and services being exchanged here. First of all, like, would you ever pay somebody more than like a quarter to clean your fucking windshield when you have wipers that can just do it for you? What the fuck? How lazy are you that you're not going to hit that switch? So you'll pay somebody to like do it by hand and degrade themselves.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, what if you don't have paper cash? Like, handing them change, like coins, is so much worse than giving them nothing at all. Like, especially in my cup holder, there's some like residual like Coke and Sprite in there. I'm not going to hand them 3 sticky quarters. That's just weird. I'm just going to drive away. I'm going to go to a different fucking gas station for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Have you ever had so much sticky fluid like soda in your cup holder that you just pile more? Okay. You just pile more change into it to create a new base that's dry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're laying bricks to build a patio over your septic tank that's kind of leaking through the grass.
Glad I'm not the only immature piece of shit on this particular podcast.
Oh, definitely not.
No. That's the only way you handle that. No one takes the change out one by one and cleans the cup holder. You just pile. In my mind, coins become like sponges at that point, and they just help you soak it up.
The cup holder gets cleaned out when I get the car detail, which is never. Fucking never. It's
you just
never
deal with it for 6 years until you get a new car, and then you just start the whole thing over.
When the transmission goes, I'll get a new car, and then my cup holder will be clean for like 3 weeks. Yeah.
I'm glad that you didn't like pretend that you were actually going to get it detailed, and you immediately followed up detailing with never, because I keep telling myself I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm not.
Well,
I'm
it's
not
such a good idea until
you
get the estimate. You're like, I mean, it's nice and clean, and then they're like, it's just about $400. You're like, all right, I'm never going to do that as long as I live.
You buy $8 for the Lysol wipes, you wipe down your steering wheel, and you're good. You're done. Get all that Cheeto and Dorito dust off the steering wheel, and you're a new man. You're good. You're golden.
All right. Well, I think now that we've successfully talked about the stock market, bashed homeless people for trying to make some money on the side of the street.
No, because their rag is always soaked with some liquid that's not clear. I don't know what it's not. It's not a cleaning product, and they leave what looks like a urine smear across my windshield. I hate Camden.
Spit.
I hate Camden. I hate
Camden's the worst. You know who I want to bash, because I'm never going to have like the context to bring this up ever again as long as I live. Tipping culture is so out of control in America that now you're expected to tip when you pick up an order. You get in your car that you do payments on with your gas, and you drive there, and you have to. I don't want to sound like a boomer here, but it infuriates me to no extent that they're like highlighting the tip thing. Like, no, you didn't bring me this food. Like you understand what I'm saying?
I mean, I do tip, but I tip hoping that it goes to the cook. Like I got a small,
yeah.
You're
like,
a very optimistic tipper.
At like a small pizzeria where there's like a shared tip jar out front. You know what I mean? Like you're like, like
the one parent.
I'll use the example. It's the pizza place that you know very well. It's a different one than the one that you worked at, but it's named after an HBO series about Italians who all kill each other.
I worked there too, though. Yeah.
And like every time I go there, I'll just throw them like $5. You're like, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like they're probably struggling to stay open, but there's no fucking way they are, because every time I get a pizza from there, no matter whether I pick it up or have it delivered, it's like $25 for one large pizza. I don't know how the fuck it hachappens. I don't know how.
It's so expensive.
Dude, yeah. I can just get Domino's or Pizza Hut and get diarrhea for half the price. It's why am I paying?
That's the one parenthetical I was going to say is like during the pandemic, I have been a total fucking cuck, and no matter what I do, I throw like $5 on. Dude, and every time, like when me and Veronica are on the way there, I'm like, I'm not fucking doing it this time. I'm not tipping anyone. And then I like see them. They all look like dilapidated and awful.
Yeah.
I'm like, all
like
right.
The lady at the cash register is like on crutches for some reason. She's she's missing a tooth, but it looks like it just happened. It's like traumatic. You know what I mean? Like
when you're about to ring out, like little Timmy runs out from the back and like, Mommy, we almost have enough for the electricity. You're like, oh shit. Let me reach into my fucking coffers, cough up some change.
You just get this weird image of the little kid, like after the oven's been off for a while, he crawls in there for warmth at night to sleep under his blanket because the rest of the house is ice cold. And they have to double check before they fire it up in the morning to make sure he's up and doing his chores.
It's a real Hansel and Gretel type nightmare going on there.
Well, these are hard times for all of us, Chris. Trying times.
Anyway, like I was saying earlier, stock market stories, talking about the homeless, and now talking about burning kids in an oven.
No, I think it's good. We're talking about proper pizza oven safety and maintenance.
Damn it! I keep trying to slip it by, Scott.
Fuck you, man.
Welcome to the Cynical Nerd, boys and girls.
Can I get 3 welcomes back to back?
Yeah,
you can get a welcome to the Cynical Nerd.
With the PBR.
Episode 18. We are legal. Derek agreed to show us pee today, only for the YouTube bot. I'm going to bleep it out. I promise I won't forget where it's at. We have a lot of news to discuss. We have a piece of sad boy news up on Front Street. So any more jokes you want to get out of your system before we talk about the sad boy news?
I feel like I should have one, but I don't.
Yeah, I feel like I know what the news is, so I don't want to say
ED
anything.
Is like?
Before we talk about it, we'll do our introductions. Just know that we're all very somber for at least the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, I give you 4 minutes of somber. After that, it's.
Yeah, after that, it's. I was going to make another Teen Cook reference. I'm not doing it.
Thank you. That's personal growth. Look at you.
Thank you. Really, it's a personal embarrassment, but there's also the same thing sometimes. My name is Chris. Thanks for hanging out with us. As per usual, I have Derek and Scott with us. Scott just going ham on that PBR. Derek, how you doing today?
Not bad. I'm also Scott. We're now 2 Scotts and 1 Chris, just to make it nice and confusing for listeners. And I'm doing great since the name change. That's about it.
Well, then I'm also going to go by Scott, and we can be 3 Scotts and a baby.
Who's
Scott?
Who's the baby?
Scott number 1. How are you? How you doing today?
Is that? Am I the? Oh, I'm the first.
You're number 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I feel like you were there
the OG.
first, right?
Yeah. I'm doing
Everyone
okay.
else is a clone.
I'm doing all right. Well, the question I would have if this is a weird clone scenario is, are we like the 6th Day clones, where like what's going on the entire time, but it's supposed to be a big M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end? Or are we talking like...
I would go like Moon with Sam Rockwell, where we don't know what's going on.
Oh, where our teeth are just falling out and we're all bleeding out of our ears? Yeah, fuck yeah.
Good movie.
That's some 2021 energy. Yeah.
I forget what I was looking up that was. It was like movies you didn't see but should have or something. And I was like, well, I've seen most of these. But like, that's a fantastic fucking movie. Anyway, good to know. So sad boy news is that Cloris Leachman, iconic actress, has passed away at the age of 94. This was posted on Thursday, January 28th. It was announced by her family. Her longtime manager announced the passing, and I'm not going to read it because, no need to quote it. I would just say she's been in a ton of iconic stuff. Things like Mel Brooks' Frankenstein, Young Frankenstein, Mary Tyler Moore Show. Without listing off her myriad of achievements, I would say one of her best roles for me, and if she heard this, she would be annoyed because it would be belittling her career, was the roasts on Comedy Central that she was a part of, because she had some choice jokes. Like, she didn't give a shit. She would say whatever the fuck someone wrote for her, because I know she didn't write them. But she made jokes about her vagina, just like raunchy shit you don't expect out of Cloris Leachman. And it just made a whole nother level of respect for someone, that's up there in years like that has not become prudish or fearful of saying some real off kilter shit. But she was a fucking icon. She was hilarious to the end, and I'm sad that she died. And
it's so untimely.
Always, yeah. I was gonna say, Scott, do you have anything else you want to add? I mean, this, we're just gonna. What did I miss?
What happened? They're caught. All right. No. But that's like a thing though. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, when a lot of people get older, like, I guess they fear the Grim Reaper's coming. They like find their faith, whether they believe it or not. They kind of like just fake it. You know what I mean? Like,
Derek's having a great time.
We're opening it up nice and dark. Well, I got the scotch back, so I'm having fun, guys. What can I say? It's been a bad month.
This is the first beer I've had in a month, and man, it is perfect. No, but I mean, Cloris Leachman was always a wonderful actress, wonderful personality. You said it yourself, man. Like, her roles from Mary Tyler Moore to Young Frankenstein. You know what I mean? Like, as Frau Blucher. I don't have a horse sound effect, but you can add that in post, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think I have that ability. Derek, how about you? Anything to add?
Totally sucks. I don't know what else to say.
No.
It sucks. No, she had a great, her opening joke at the roast that you had mentioned, which was of Bob Saget, hosted by John Stamos. She said, I'm not here to roast Bob Saget. I'm here to fuck John Stamos, which was a fucking great opener.
Yeah, dude.
I don't remember anything else from that roast except that.
I think we can all relate to wonderful.
Yeah, he's a good-looking guy. Very square-jawed.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, still on drugs for sure, though, which is a shame. But it's keeping him going. Go ahead, John. Do you?
I have to just for a split second read that full quote, because that's what I was looking up while I asked you your opinion, because you and I apparently same page today. Is exactly the thing I was thinking of was her opening joke on the Bob Saget roast. So she says, I'm not here to roast Bob Saget. I'm here to fuck John Stamos. Yeah. Stamos, you shouldn't talk so much. Your mouth is canceling out all the work your ass is doing. If you play your cards right, I'll do something no girl has ever done to you. Put you in the movies. And that is just a phenomenal line. Yeah. And like I said, I'm 99% sure she didn't write it, but it doesn't fucking matter.
Anthony Jeselnik wrote it. That's the only reason he was ever on those roasts. He wrote everyone's jokes, and they gave him 5 minutes to talk.
I'd say he's like, I don't know, mediocre to decent comedian in his own specials, but he shines in the places where he gets to be just a giant asshole with no end goal in mind. Like, the roasts are his forte all the time. Him and Nikki Glaser, the woman we were talking about. Is it Nikki?
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, his stand-up thoughts and prayers is like 10 out of 10. It's excellent. I know he's like a one-liner comedian, which some people aren't into, but it's a good one. It's very good.
We'll have to check that one out.
It's a good one.
For sure.
It's a good one.
Okay, so sad boy time is over. You all have to wipe the sadness off of your face. We have some weird news to go into.
That sounded real weird.
What did I...
Was sad boy time at like a truck stop bathroom? What the fuck happened?
Yeah, you wipe the cum off your mouth and you move forward.
Yeah, you got to keep going. You got $15 now.
Yeah, you got 15 more coming if you can choke down another one.
How much Doog coin do you think we can buy? $15.
How much Dog the Bounty Hunter do you think we can afford tonight? So we're just gonna get worse and worse to it. At the end of the night, it's gonna be something completely fucking ridiculous. Yeah. The Matrix 4, gentlemen, is apparently still happening with Lana Wachowski directing. Apparently, it has a rumored title, which is going to be Resurrection. So,
awful.
Terrible.
On the one hand,
you would think it could get worse than like Reloaded or Revolution.
It fits right in.
Reloaded was pretty bad.
Yeah. Resurrection is, I would argue.
What's with all the R's? Everything ends with like all the sequels have R after the title. Which makes sense because like every sequel to the first one is R-worded. Like they're all fucking so terrible. But
oh no, you had that in the chamber. I feel like you had that one in the chamber. It was fantastic. Look, at least it's being consistent, right? Resurrection fits right in there with Reloaded and Revolutions.
But the only reason that like the trilogy, and like it didn't make any sense at all. But like all of our main characters die. except for Morpheus. So like, if Lawrence Fishburne came back, I'd be like, all right, I mean, okay, what's going on? But they're bringing back Trinity and Neo. What's her name? Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah.
And fuck.
Keanu Reeves? Okay.
Yeah,
I was like, did you forget Keanu's name first?
I did, yeah.
Nobody forgets Keanu. So, I mean, obviously, it was a little puzzling when we all heard the movie was coming out because they were very adamant when the rumors first started swirling and the announcement was made that it was not a reboot, it's an actual sequel to the trilogy that already happened. Excuse me. And like you said, that ended with, I don't know, everybody dying. Neo, they did a really heavy-handed job of smacking us all over the head with the Christ imagery. So he sacrificed himself for our sins, and then we struck a deal with the devil, apparently, and the Matrix is going to continue. I wasn't sure,
but yeah,
what the fuck happened.
But it's like not even our sins. Like their whole allegory, like it falls apart because like we're unwilling participants that had nothing to do with what happened before. We're grown. So it's like
and it doesn't make sense when you think about like the actual conflict of what's happening between the humans and the robots, like because now the robots have starved themselves of their energy source, and humans still don't have like a livable world. So like calling the truce is like, wait, but who really actually wins? Like, all right, the robots get rid of one problem, but there's still every other fucking problem that you built up over 12 hours of screen time. Like, what about all that other shit?
I kind of had the feeling that the way it was going to work, and this could be my, 10 plus year old brain doing stupid things, but I was like, oh, okay, so there's some kind of harmony. So like maybe they're going to still live in the Matrix, but the machines are going to tell them and they're going to be allowed to leave if they want to. Like it's going to be a choice thing. Because what is that world?
What an awful choice, though. You want to eat this goop that looks like cum, or do you want to have like a roast beef sandwich right now?
I'll take the cum goop, baby.
It's like, well, is it an Arby's roast beef sandwich? Because if so, give me that cum.
I'm opting into the cum.
Burn.
Yeah.
So this is a rumor, but really the point of the article is to bring up how, because we haven't gotten a chance to talk about it. Scott, how do you feel about them making a Matrix 4 in general?
I mean,
obviously not good.
I'm still not over the Matrix Reloaded. You know, we talked about the white guys with dreads before. Not a fan of them. But also like
there's two of them too.
But also like in Matrix Reloaded, when he goes into that room full of monitors and Colonel Sanders is there, Colonel Sanders tells him that Neo is like the sixth incarnation of the one, and that Zion and everything that exists outside of the Matrix is also a simulation, and it's. If I'm not, maybe this was in the third one, but it's all been a simulation all along. That's their net to catch people who don't want to like what's what I'm thinking of, conform to the norm of the Matrix. Mm-hmm. Is to give them an out. It's an alternate reality where they get to live out whatever fantasy they have. But they ultimately say that the machines have destroyed Zion 6 times before, and that this will be the 6th time. So like, where is the end of the Matrix? Was any of that actually real? Is that actually the real world, or is there no real world? Is it all a simulation?
So because I gotta,
it's real stupid. It doesn't make any sense. There's no right answer.
I have to admit something to you guys. You may judge me for it. Derek probably harsher than Scott, but both equally.
You like the Matrix, don't you? You fucking like it, don't you?
Chill out.
You like it. You fucking
chill
like
out.
it.
I haven't watched them since they released. However, I did like them when they came out. And I was like, me and my brother-in-law were like the only people who were like, I don't get what people are bitching about. I thought it was kind of cool. So Zion wasn't a simulation, but the machines knew about it. It was a quantifiable known. Like every time that they rebooted, they knew people would get out. They would start Zion. They knew exactly where the fuck it was. That's why they said they destroyed it 6 times. They knew all these things happened. And Neo's character was quote unquote a remainder of the equation of the Matrix. Like what they had built, no matter what they did, the one always happened. But it's happened so many times that they know how to deal with his ass. And it's like remainder in division, in like long division, like basically is how they explain.
That's a really interesting way to break it down. Long division.
Well, I mean, whatever. Fuck you.
No, I'm sorry. I'm
gonna fuck both of you up real quick because I like the Matrix movies too. I actually just watched them. Yeah, no, they're fine. They're fine.
When he gets his eyes gouged out, why does he see fire everywhere? It doesn't make any fucking.
No, it doesn't. Listen. Let me tell you something. You're right.
It doesn't have to make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's cool. It's still cool. Like it's not.
The first one is
like the story it's telling isn't like, oh my god, that's so true, or so it's not a good story. But it's a fun movie, so
but
who fucking cares?
The first one was fucking phenomenal.
It was amazing. It was amazing. But I watched all three last year, and I liked Reloaded and Revolutions. I thought they were
even the scene in Reloaded, where like they're in that giant staircase for some reason, all the walls are lined with like every sharp melee instrument you could possibly have throughout all of history. Just completely like it's like there was a fucking librarian like categorizing them by section and shape and weight. Circumference. It was ridiculous. And
but the
is that place like a program though?
The Merovingian, exactly. The Merovingian gave a girl a piece of cake that made her cum in her pants. It's fucking stupid. By the way. It's dumb. It's the dumbest fucking movie.
It was dumb. And listen, the latter two are like way too heavy on the CGI, and it's like makes it you're kind of detached from it a little bit. But the first one is obviously incredible. But the other two, all right, they lost sort of a lot of the weight that the first one had built up, but I still think that they were. I watched them a couple. Like I said, last year I watched all three of them, and I expected to feel that dip in the second one, and then again in the third one. No, I mean they're fun. They're dumb, but they're fun. They're stupid fun. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not even a little bit. Not even fighting like 55 Agent Smiths at once. Not even a little bit.
That scene, the CGI in that scene does not hold up. They're like rubber bands running around.
All of Revelation. Is it Revelations or Revolutions?
Revolutions,
right?
Revolutions.
All of that movie is CGI. Like the fight in fucking Zion. It's all just like you're watching a fucking cartoon at that point. It's too much. I'm not disagreeing with you. You're 100% correct. It's too much, but it's still a fun movie.
I'll give you this though. The final fight between Neo and Agent Smith in the rain, where it's like a Dragon Ball Z, like Goku and Cell. That was fucking cool. That was
every punch they're making like force fields.
You're watching the rain
like
fly out.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah,
that was really cool visually.
We should do a watch along of the first one, fellas. I don't know what we're wasting time for. That would actually be really cool. Yeah,
I'm down because we can make fun of it too. And let's be honest, it's not nothing about them is original. They ripped off of so many other things to make that film. Yeah. Right? Yeah, I mean. I just, I part of it was when Reloaded came out, the second one, the end of it. I remember so many people going, that didn't make any after the Colonel Sanders scene where he explained how he's been eating the same bucket of chicken 6 times. Yeah, just reheated. The Matrix reheated.
So much worse.
I just put it every time. Never mind.
I remember that movie coming out and so many people saying. Saying like
30 seconds on high heat.
Please, Christopher. I promise we'll both stop.
I was slightly annoyed for being interrupted, and then he said ergo high heat, and it was really good.
I'm sorry, I haven't been drunk in a month, and this is hitting me real fast.
That's great. No, I remember walking out of that film and hearing everybody go, I don't understand. That conversation didn't make any sense. And I was like, actually, it made perfect sense. Whether or not you agree with the logic, the way he broke it down was totally fine. So you're all stupid. And that probably fed into me liking it a little bit because I'm like.
Chris is walking out holding his gigantic fucking brain. He's like lopsided. Actually, it was totally easy. You fucking one-heads. Fucking morons.
I walked out of the theater as MODOK all of a sudden. I was like, oh shit. What do I do with all this brain power? Anyway.
You gotta convert it to cum power.
Top Hunks,
it's
next
taken
level.
20 years, but he's doing it.
I don't know why my dog is barking.
He's starting to believe.
Whenever I die a horrible death in a video game, I utter that phrase from the first Matrix, like the "not like this."
Not like
this. Really sad. It's like a really horrifying scene.
Yeah,
I'm not the only one,
dude. I do it. I do that all the time, like, even in real life. Like when I'm like I get cut off and I'm stuck in a red light because the guy in front of me who cut me off made it through. I'm like, not like this.
The only other thing I want to say is this: like the one thing about this article, because we haven't even talked about fucking the new one yet, that bugs me is apparently, like, I'm going to see it. Yeah, well, hell yeah, I'm going to see it. I'm going to probably have a lot of fun with it. But apparently, like, Morpheus is not confirmed for this movie. That takes away so much of my fucking. Morpheus is by far my favorite character in the original trilogy, and it's not even close. Like, it's not even close to second place. He is a fucking excellent character. So the fact that they're not bringing him back is a little like, why? Like, he was what ushered in every event.
He was the heart and soul of that entire series. Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
He was the main character, really. Honestly, I know, like, it's a lot of it's Neo's perspective, but it is Morpheus' story.
Yeah, he's the shepherd of the tale for sure.
Yeah. So that's a little weird to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I don't know. Look, I don't know what to expect from the new one. And
I know Lawrence Fishburne's a big fat guy now, so maybe that's why. But
dude, that scene where he's like dripping wet, breaking his fucking cuffs from behind his back.
Good.
Oh my god,
so we gotta watch along. We gotta watch along.
100%. We gotta do that.
I am down to do that like this week.
Yeah.
Same.
So, and also, I just want to shout out Derek's real commitment to not giving away the cards he was holding there with the fact that he liked the film. He let Scott rip on me actually for a little bit before admitting that he liked it. So I applaud you, and also go fuck yourself. I could have used the backup earlier.
Well, I was gonna swoop in and save you, but then you were like, "Well, fuck you, Derek," because I know you feel the same way. I was like, "All right, now you're gonna burn all by yourself. Have fun."
It's the TC.
Well, at least you're not getting reverse entropy burned where you freeze to death. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
I did feel a little chill on my taint when that happened. All right, we got to move on. We're spending way too much time on one story.
That's some drinking the frostbite, bro.
Oh, frostbite.
You're feeling that shit talk with that
Drinking
icy cold breath.
Very nice. Cone of cold.
I'm like a 5 gum commercial all over them balls.
Oh, gross. I appreciate that you went for balls, though. No one, they don't get enough love.
Yeah,
never.
I mean, I get it. Have you seen him? Horrible. Just really bad to look at.
Like wrinkly old men just hanging out down there.
Mm-hmm.
So the next piece of news is video game related.
Golf balls in a sock. Terrible.
This is going to be a long episode, isn't it?
Is Legacy of Kain remake is in the works from Blue Point Studios. Legacy of Kain Blood Omen, I believe, was the original title. This is great news. I loved the Legacy of Kain games. If this is true, it's a rumor at this point. They haven't actually announced it. But if it is true, Blue Point, who's been doing other remakes recently, is rumored to be working on this as their next project. The project is going to stay, quote unquote, extremely faithful to the original game story, but the gameplay will be reworked. And we see that all the time because, look, a lot of the tropes of gameplay back then just feel dated as shit today if you try to do some of the same kind of mechanics. Excuse me. The goal apparently is to create a system similar to today's Souls games, but with the original game's adventure focus and environmental puzzles. And I just got to say, 130% on board with that news, if this is true. Derek, did you ever play the original Legacy of Kain?
So this is Blood Omen, right? This is Blood Omen 1.
Yeah, Blood Omen.
Yeah. So I played, a friend of mine had Blood Omen 2, and I was always super jealous because anytime I was there, I'd play it. It was like really fucking fun. It was a cool game. I remember almost nothing about it other than that it was just seemed really cool. And I remember looking up Blood Omen 1, which I guess was like a PS1 game or something.
Yeah.
But it was one of those weird releases where like people were reselling it for super, super expensive. So I never got a chance to play it. It always looked awesome. And I know that like from what I had read back then and because I completely forgot it existed until I read this article earlier. It's basically more focused on the like tone and atmosphere than like having exciting, fun gameplay, which I think that those games tend to turn out pretty immersive. So the fact that they're remaking it and focusing on that as well as making it fun to play I'm right there with you. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm just this. I think this is going to be fucking cool. That being said, Scott has told me to play the straight up Legacy of Kain games since we were in fucking high school, and I've never done it. So like any opportunity to like get into those, I'm into it.
Yeah. God, how about you?
Oh my God. I mean, the OG Legacy of Kain was a top-down, like, action RPG, sort of, kind of like Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
But like way more, like, just violent and disgusting. And you play as a vampire who's basically just killing everyone who's in his way. You want to take the seat of the throne. So you're killing all the competition, everyone who's like wronged you. The whole
is that
series.
Kain? Is that yeah? Okay.
Kain is the protagonist of the Blood Omen games and the antagonist of the Soul Reaver game.
That's right. Yeah, I remember Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver is
what was his name? Raziel or something?
Raziel, yeah.
Raziel, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the God, dude, every Legacy of Kain game. Eventually, they kind of melded where like both Kain and Raziel's stories were sort of intertwined. Yeah. Because I mean, let's be honest here. Blood Omen 2 happened because of the critical success of Soul Reaver. Mm-hmm. Soul Reaver was a 3D platform action game with a shitload of gore, complex environmental puzzles. There's a lot of flipping blocks, but back then that's
that's what it was, baby.
That's what environmental puzzles were.
Yeah.
Water switches, all this kind of crazy shit. And it's just to see it come full circle, to see them paying respects to the first game in the series, showing love to it, gives me hope that maybe we might get a new entry someday. I mean, it's start to finish, man. The whole series is incredible, and Blood Omen was always one of those games that was so immersive and so huge when you were a kid that you never got to finish it. I have beaten every game in the series but the original Blood Omen. So
nice.
I'm really excited to get my hands on it, and like the combat will be way more interesting in 3D. So
right.
It's gonna.
So Blood Omen is like the first one in the Legacy of Kain period.
Yeah, and then Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver happens.
I thought Soul Reaver was the first one.
No, Soul Reaver was a sequel. That was the first Legacy of Kain game that was like 3-dimensional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Soul Reaver is the one that I remember. I didn't play Blood Omen either, and I remember that because we've talked about this before when it comes to older school systems, but I had an N64, not a PS1. So I remember my brother-in-law.
That's really tough childhood.
Well, I mean, I liked it, bro. Rogue Squadron all day. Rogue Squadron, GoldenEye. They had some Jet Force Gemini, bro. Quality titles.
Gemini. Oh my
Jet Force
God!
Gemini
Thank you for mentioning
so fucking
that.
good.
Such a good game.
Dude, that's on Rare Replay. We can all play that on PC.
Oh shit, legit.
Yeah, it plays like a nightmare now, though.
Oh, absolutely. I would imagine if touching it again would ruin my memories of it.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun back in the day. I remember Soul Reaver, and I played it a little bit because I had a brother-in-law. He had a PS1. I borrowed it for certain games. Like he let me play the Metal Gear Solid game on it, so I got those big tentpole experiences. I played Final Fantasy VII on it, etc. And I remember him playing Soul Reaver, and I thought it looked so fucking cool. Like when it came out. And I got my hands on it a little bit, played a couple levels. So, yeah, Raziel is the one that I recall. Kain, I didn't play too much, but I'm excited about this. So there's a rumor that they were trying to make it happen for the release of the PS5. It was unable to happen. According to this, it will be revealed as part of Sony's Summer Game Fest event. However, they, of course, they're going to go. They might decide to announce it later, which is the telling sign of we're not sure if this guy's being legit or not. We all hope he is. But there's also apparently a Jak and Daxter remake that they're prioritizing as a different project. So I guess what the article is basically saying is if you hear news about the Jak and Daxter remake, it helps solidify this as more truth than a rumor. Right. Because neither of those things have been announced so far. So we'll keep our eye on it. That was really the only video game news we had for the week. Back to the movie shit.
Would also give my big toe on both feet for a Jak and Daxter remake.
Yeah. I didn't play Jak and Daxter.
I played the first one or two, and I remember liking them, but I don't fucking remember anything. That was so much weed and whiskey ago. I don't remember.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically like the same formula.
There's so many drugs.
It's the same formulas like Gex, Enter the Gecko, Mario 64,
right?
Spyro the Dragon, Crash. You go to these hub zones. You do all these different quests in this big open world. The thing that set this game apart is that it was all interconnected. You didn't have to travel into certain levels. It was all one giant open map. You can go to different areas. Once you had enough precursor artifacts, you could travel to new areas. So it was cool shit, man. I replayed the first one maybe a year ago, and without even breaking a sweat, got a platinum trophy. It's so much fun to play. It'll take you 2 or 3 days, and you'll burn through the whole thing.
Dude, those goofball games, their controls totally hold up. I even got just a fucking ROM of fucking Banjo-Kazooie, and I'm like, this is going to play like dog shit, right? Yeah. Nope. Played like a fucking dream, baby. Fucking 20-year-old game, more than.
Yeah.
Word. Okay, so back to movie news. Our next article is one that no one asked for, and no one wanted. But here it is, nonetheless, to further ruin 2021. Cloverfield is finally getting a direct sequel, but it won't be found footage. So, oh boy. So this movie came out in 2008. The original was found footage. Fun fact, was directed by Matt Reeves. Yes, the same one who went on to do the Planet of the Apes films. The one who is now directing the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson. Sorry, got to correct myself.
Got him.
There were 2 other Cloverfield movies
Batman.
that were parallel Cloverfield movies. Yeah, there was 10 Cloverfield Lane. And then what was the other one?
Cloverfield
Paradox. Yeah. One of them wasn't bad. I forget which one it was. It was the one with John Goodman and they were in the bunker.
Yeah.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I thought that movie was actually quite good.
It was surprisingly enjoyable.
It was a small movie. The only CGI that took place was the very end when they showed when they kind of revealed that they were in the same universe. But obviously, I mean, John Goodman's just a fucking treasure of an actor anyway. Yeah. So
anything he does,
please. And it was good. It was just psychological. It was an interesting film about them being stuck in a bunker, basically against their will. But there is something out there that makes them want to stay in there anyway. So it's a weird kind of dichotomy. The other movie, I don't fucking remember, and don't care to even talk about. But the interesting part is there have been rumors of this sequel since this movie came out, because against all odds, it was actually quite successful. It was kind of the earlier era of the found footage thing, so we weren't all sick to death of it already. The Hollywood Reporter, which is, preeminently always right about what the shit they put up, says that they're finally in development, and they have the same writer who's working on the HBO Max Batman TV spinoff for Gotham writing the film.
I love when you do that, Scott. I'm sorry to interrupt. I love
when he caresses.
Yeah.
Dude, I was reading from the article and it literally caught my eye and I got like a half chub.
Yeah, you get a little the blood goes a little faster every time he does it.
My dick's like, whoa, what's going on? I thought we
didn't mean to cut you off there. I just had to appreciate.
Hey, what?
The main combing.
The main comb. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was basically at the end of my rope there, but
main comb.
End of your rope and a new one begins.
End of the rope, and I'm throwing out more. Derek, how do you feel about the Cloverfield sequel news?
I remember years ago, like there's apparently a point in the first Cloverfield where like his camera looks at another guy looking through a camera at him, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do the second one from his point of view." And I'm like, "Was this movie that good that you're gonna do? Are you gonna do another one?" Like that's weird. And then they tied the other two in, and I get that like they put a lot into like making the universe seem like lived in, and so that's why they wanted to continue in other ways. I don't care, honestly. I'm not going to see it. I'm almost definitely not going to see it. The one question I wanted to pose to you guys, I hate the found footage subgenre, but I feel like there's good, even in stuff that sucks, you're bound to find a gem in every pile, right? So I just wanted to ask what your guys' favorite found footage movie was.
Oh, I don't have this one ready. Shit, I have no idea.
I have mine. It's Chronicles. That movie was fucking good, man.
Oh, that was a good one.
Or Chronicle, whatever it was called. I was surprised by how, like, that was a pretty good movie.
They handled it very well, actually. Yeah, the superhero one, right?
Yeah.
The taking of Deborah Morgan.
I
didn't see that. I heard that's pretty good, though.
Was it
Deborah Logan?
Deborah Logan. Logan.
Yeah.
That was a good one. There's also, I mean, if we're talking about like I don't know, like more in the same vein as like The Void and Psycho Goreman, there's Grave Encounters, which is a found footage movie that kind of like makes fun of all those ghost adventure shows. Puts a bunch of
I gotta watch that just because the name is a good pun.
Grave Encounter, yeah, like they're the way that they build the tension in that movie, like the found footage trope is done to death by the time Grave Encounters even comes out. But the way that they mess with the characters psychologically in that movie, like the things that happen to them in this place at first is terrifying. Then it jumps the shark about halfway through and just gets ridiculous. But the effects aren't great. but to see found footage done in a way where it's like it's kind of taking a jab at something where people are usually full of shit and they expect nothing to happen when they go into this haunted place, and then when shit starts happening and they can't get out, it's just, I thought that was always an interesting that was an interesting take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't watch Grave Encounters 2 though. Don't do that. Don't watch the second one. Don't
just number one. All you need is number one. You only need half of that, apparently.
It's like an RV. No number 2s. Just don't do it. You know what I mean?
Jesus, you were ready with that one.
I'm having trouble thinking of a found footage one that Deborah Logan. Taking of Deborah Logan, I actually also liked a lot, and I felt like it went by under the radar just a little bit because I didn't hear a whole lot of chatter about it, but I enjoyed it. Yeah. I will say, for one that I can't stand because that sticks out in my head, I never got the hype for Blair Witch Project, and I fucking hated it. I didn't like it.
It's pretty boring.
I mean, yeah, it's mostly people arguing in the woods. But they did remake the Blair Witch. They made a new Blair Witch that's found footage. That one's actually good.
Huh.
Like that one like that one is kind of cool.
They have the game out now too, which I heard wasn't half bad.
Yeah, the reboot movie is what sparked interest for the game. We're talking like the movie came out I think 4 or 5 years ago. The remake.
Might have to watch it.
It's just called Blair Witch. And
I might have to give it a shot.
It's found footage, and there's a few things that obviously the found footage trope has been done to death. But some of the scares and some of the way that they kind of bring things full circle, some of the deaths they show are really creative. I don't want to spoil it, but I also really want to spoil one but I can't.
No, just
Yeah,
hit me
do it,
with
bro.
it. It's a 5-year-old movie.
All right,
hit me with it.
There's you know how they always have the wooden dolls hanging everywhere in the trees.
Yeah.
All right. Well, at one point the group
Yeah.
separates. Like they find out that this one guy like tied up a bunch of things in the trees to mess with them overnight, like try to fuck with them. So like get the fuck. They kick him out of the group. And they tell him to go fuck himself. And they're wandering around. They can't get out of the forest. Like maybe 3 hours later, that guy and his girlfriend come running into the camp in the middle of the night screaming, and people at the camp are like, "It's only been 3. Why aren't you back at the car?" And the guy said like, "Oh, we've been walking for days. It's been days. How long has it been for you?" And like, you know, at one point, like they're walking with them again, and they see like these stick figures hanging from the tree, and the one girl like thinks that he's like, "You fucking with us again." She grabs one and like says like, "Fuck you," and like snaps it in half. And when she does, the guy who was tying him up in the tree, his girlfriend, her back just splits in half. And she like ruptures, and she like falls and starts seizing out. And you're just like, the fuck.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's actually pretty sick.
There's way cooler stuff than that happens. Like it builds a lot of tension. If you're claustrophobic, it's gonna fuck with you. If you have fear of the dark, it's gonna fuck with you. If you have fear of 8 foot tall women with giant saggy titties, it's gonna fuck with you. It's just it hits everything. It hits every demographic.
All right, I'm gonna check it. I'm gonna watch this.
It's on the Plex. It's on the Plex. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So found footage almost always tends to favor like horror films, just the nature of the beast. But I pulled up a list just because my dumb brain can't remember anything. And I the original Paranormal Activity I thought was pretty effective with found footage stuff.
Yeah.
The trope wore itself out horribly with subsequent films, but I thought the first one was cool enough and original enough. They did some really scary shit with the found footage stuff that, you know, it worked for me. Definitely stands out now that I've read it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Follow.
I saw it in theaters, and like I feel like that like lent itself to the experience. It was like very, you're not watching it on a tiny little TV. You're like fucking right front and center of this gigantic screen. It made it more like, I don't know. But when I watch it at home, it's kind of laughable a little bit. I've tried to watch it like once or twice since then. It's not as good, but I do remember being pretty horrified by it in theaters.
They did some decent lore building behind like what was going on with her family, and there's something really unsettling about living alone with your spouse and having that person start to act really strange and being alone with them all the time. Like towards the end of that film, when she's like going full on like possessed, and Mika's like trying to figure out what's going on, and he goes to help her. I'm like, oh no, it put me in a tough spot because I'd be like, police come get this crazy motherfucker because she's trying to kill me. Like, I don't know if that I would be like trying to figure it out myself.
I don't know, man. Crazy girls suck dick way better. You know what I mean? Like
it's very true.
Science,
but
science.
Just a law written directly into the universe.
Yeah.
Crazy girls might, but possessed ones just will gnaw it off. So I don't know that you want to, you know.
I mean, she did have some file down teeth in that last shot of that movie. She did. She went Topher Grace Venom that last time. Remember that fucking dog shit shot where she just like comes at it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's how they decided to end that thing.
Going out for Topher Grace, man. His career's dead.
Rip Toph.
That was a decision. So the next piece of news. Another fucking whopper. Game of Thrones is apparently developing an animated series. Or sorry, HBO Max is developing a Game of Thrones animated series. Does anybody care?
Not really.
No.
Okay, cool. Moving on because I don't care. There's also no real news about it besides that they're in development. But like, Jesus Christ, we have talked about throwing shit against the wall, and I can think of no better analogy for it. And that's all we'll have to say about it.
This is diarrhea spin art. All these spin-offs of Game of Thrones. remember spin art when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's instead of like having little different bottles of a green dye and blue dye, like it's someone just holding their sickly cat over it and squeezing its stomach gingerly, and it's diarrhea spin art. We get all these Game of Thrones spin-offs.
It's just a 60-year-old alcoholic just in a full squat over top of it, just fucking letting loose. He's eating nothing but Ensure for like 4 days straight.
Yeah.
No.
Well, before that, he had baked ziti, but parts of the ziti are still coming out whole, undigested. It's just, it's horrifying.
And then he was worried for like at least one day because nothing was happening, so he started to down Activia. And it's, you know.
For those of you who don't know, Activia is the yogurt that helps Jamie Lee Curtis poop.
Yeah, but just her, and it doesn't help anybody else. Yeah. Something unique to her biochemistry.
I knew Jamie Lee Curtis's career was over when she was selling me yogurt to help me shit. I was like, oh well.
Yeah, but then she was cast in the Halloween remake, which I haven't seen, but I heard was all right.
It's okay.
Yeah, I have to watch.
She was better than the yogurt commercial.
Wait, which which remake? The
not
Rob
remake.
Zombie one?
Sorry, not the remake. They made a sequel.
It's the one that ignores everything after Halloween Part 1.
Oh, okay.
They're saying that Halloween 2 doesn't exist, right? Or it might be everything after Halloween 1 and 2. It's like they're rewriting the history.
I don't remember the exact speed, but yeah, it's one of the ones that it's like the thing that Terminator Dark Fates did, where they ignore
it's
some
one of those.
the sequel,
Right? Oops, we fucked up everything we've done for 40 years.
Or really, the writers are like, well, we can't write around that shit sandwich, so we're just going to ignore that they existed. Yeah. All right, moving on. Another quick piece of news: that Zack Snyder's Justice League thing we keep talking about. Nothing to go off here, just besides a confirmation of the date. It's coming out on March 18th. 2021. So that's 2 days before my birthday. I should be able to finish it by the 20th if I get started right away. Fuck, man, 4 hours. It's going to be a honking beaver. I'm looking forward to it though. It's cool to know.
What day of the week is that? I'm going to look it up. No worries.
It's like a Thursday or something weird. It's real weird.
It's
I would assume.
Wow, nailed it. Okay, yeah, Thursday.
I think I looked it up earlier. I can't take credit. It's a weird day of the week. Normally, streaming titles tend to release on like Tuesdays, or movies in general tend to release on Tuesdays unless they're in theaters. But you know, we've been looking forward to it. It's cool that it's coming out so soon. It feels like I when it was announced that we've discussed this before, so no need to retread, but it felt like it was going to be a year or more to wait for like him to finish all the effects, because that's usually the most time intensive part of making a film. And you know, we're less than 2 months away at this point, so I'm pretty excited about it. All right, our next two pieces of news revolve around the same topic. The Sandman, written by Neil Gaiman, was turned into a comic book series at DC, then turned into an Audible series starring a lot of famous people that I was unaware of. One of them being James McAvoy,
got that
as Morpheus. And I've heard a lot about Sandman over the years. I've never personally read it. I'm going to do it now. Mm-hmm. I had a real mental argument with myself about. They have Audible season 1 out, and I would love to hear the Audible version, but it's not all released, and I wouldn't want to be waiting on the Audible series. I'd rather just go read the comic book series, but then I'm not going to want to do both one after the other because I've just fucking read it. So even if it's well voice acted, I've just got done reading it. You know what I mean? Derek, you've read Sandman, right?
No, not all of it. I read the first like 15 to 20 issues, something like that.
Okay, well, I was gonna pivot to you first anyway, and just see like because I know you've read some of it, like your thoughts on the series as a whole. Because I have nothing. I don't know what goes on in that series. Nothing. I know it's a dark fantasy. It's about it. So like, worthy of all the accolades that are coming, because we're talking Audible series and then Netflix series is coming soon too.
100%. I don't remember. We're working on memory from like 5-6 years ago that I read those first couple issues,
and once again, lots of scotch and weed in between.
Exactly. Yeah. I became a scotch drinker since then, so it's like a lot was burned away with that decision. No, it's excellent. The everything about it is great. Neil Gaiman, who you keep calling Neil Gaiman, and I didn't want to correct you. I thought it was funny every time. It might be. I always call him Neil Gaiman. He's an incredible writer.
Yeah, look it up, you turd.
Another great series that you can that's out now that you can watch to see if you'd like kind of his writing style and what he does is American Gods. He wrote the books, of course, but they consulted him for the show. It's an excellent show. It's very, I mean, you said it, it's a dark fantasy. It's essentially about a guy named Morpheus, who is the like master of dreams, and sort of his quest to do whatever his quest was. I don't remember. But it's always like every couple issues has like a concentrated issue that he's trying to get over or overcome, or some sacred item that he's trying to get to. It's just it draws you along. They also like tie in like Lucifer, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And there are these beings called like the D's or something, like dream, desperation, something or other. I don't remember them, but they're basically like they're godly like beings. One thing that he does really well is just make interesting fucking characters. You'll see that in American Gods. You'll see that in this. I actually want to pick it back up and finish it. I think it's only like 70 issues or something, so it's not like something that's going to take up years of your life. And they, of course, now at this point, they have them all concentrated into like 8 or 9 graphic novels. So it's easy to get your hands on all of them. I don't want to act like I'm the expert on this because I really don't remember much. I just remember I really loved it. I got the first like 3 graphic novels. And then I always wanted to continue to do it. And then I just got my hands on something else and never did it. But I remember it being excellent.
Nice.
You were talking about being concerned about, listening to the audio book format, I guess, or the audio, what do you call it?
Yeah.
Audio, like the pod, what would you call it? Like a narrative podcast?
It's like an Audible series. Yeah, I guess it's like a narrative podcast.
I mean, to me, like that, if I could read it and see the pictures of, like, I'd rather just imagine James McAvoy's voice. I'll look up who all the voice actors were and just read all the dialogue in their fucking voices in my head. But
the art is really, I'm sorry, the art is very well done.
Yeah.
And it's published by, I'm 90% certain that it's published by Vertigo, which is DC's, kind of like R-rated publication. So it gives a little bit more freedom to do sort of the gory stuff. And there's titties. So, titties are good.
Ooh, titties. But I mean, like, the show's going to be completely different than the comic. They've already acknowledged, like, he gets locked away, imprisoned. Morpheus gets imprisoned in, like, 1909 or something like that. And the original series had him getting out, like, somewhere in, like, the 70s or 80s or something like that. But he would be set, instead of being set 90 years after his capture, it's set, like, in modern day now. So it would be like, I don't know, like, whatever the fuck it is. So, I mean, they said that they're going to rewrite characters based on, like, how it would all work today. To be more inclusive. It's going to be like they're modernizing it, but in a way that it's going to make sense with the characters and the story that they're telling. So, I mean, like, going ahead and reading the books isn't even going to spoil the series for you. If people are interested in getting your hands on these graphic novels, it's going to be 2 similar experiences, but we often see things like Game of Thrones on HBO is nothing like the Song of Fire and Ice books, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no Lady Death, what's her name? Deathheart? Lady Stoneheart?
Lady Stoneheart.
Stoneheart.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, there's like a lot of what you're going to see on TV is going to be different than the novel. So you might as well pick them up, get into it, get to know the characters. Graphic novel costs you like what, $15?
Probably.
Yeah.
You can do digital. You can do digital on an app too, probably.
Yeah, I've done digital for most of my comics in the past, little bit. I might grab these in actual graphic novel format because it's been a while, and
I'm a dirty
I'd like to just hold something in my fucking hands.
Yeah.
I honestly, I love technology and will almost always go with the digital version because it's easier, right? But
so much easier.
But for this one in particular, I'm feeling the urge. Just like the Dark Knight Returns, when I got that, I could have got like the digital version even back when I first read it, and I didn't. I was like, yeah, give me the book. I want to hold that bitch.
That's what whenever it's something like I really love, like a series I absolutely adore, I get the book. Like I get the real thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's like my Kindle is incredible. Like if Ron is asleep and the lights are off, I have the backlight. It tells you how long, based on your reading speed, like you have left in a chapter. It's excellent. I resisted it for years, and I regret every single one of those years. It's like a really great piece of technology.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. Plus, it takes up way less fucking shelf room once you're done with it.
Well, what are you going to put on all your bookshelves? You don't have books?
Toys. I play with plenty of Legos.
Figurines?
Yeah. He means sex toys, too. He gets pretty weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easier to figure out which one I want to sit on when they're butt level. I mean, so this looks. I'm glad that took this is a building. It's like it started out lower and then it's getting better. I'm just gonna chalk it up to the alcohol. I'm not that extra funny tonight. So,
this is the first time you talk about having a collection of things to put in your little butt. So,
that's true. I didn't say little though.
That you keep it butt level.
It's like a menagerie of butt stuff.
It's a coffee table covered in cock.
Yeah, it's the cocky table. Bukkake, that is. Okay, so yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm gonna pick up the graphic novel for sure. You've convinced me. I probably will not do the Audible series for a while. I'm probably gonna skip the Audible series, to be honest with you. Just wait for the show to come out because I don't have the graphic novels and then the show to look at. I did read American Gods. When I heard the series was coming to TV and I heard the premise, I went, that sounds interesting. And I bought the book and listened to it through Audible and absolutely loved it. I think that book is fantastic. We only watched like the first half of the first season and it was okay. I didn't have a problem with it. It was fine. But the book, it just feels like is so like massive in scale that it would be really difficult to like ever do that proper justice, because his shit that he writes is so like, it's like modern day mythology. He writes these crazy grandiose tales and weaves in like current day with these, you know, like the gods like Odin. And that's what American Gods is about. And it's really cool and really epic on a scale. And I just think like the book format just works so perfect for it. So hopefully Netflix pulls it off properly, but along with the, his sense of style is just incredible. Is all I was going to say. Like, just even silly things like you have Odin, who was called Woden, which is where we get Wednesday from. And that's why his name is Mr. Wednesday in the book. Just like these weird little things where he clearly like did his research. Like, you know, it's just the way that he stylizes everything is just very fucking cool. There was like a prologue or something in the audiobook with him talking. I don't know if it was like a special edition, and they were just talking about the mountains and mountains of research he does when he writes stuff like this, and it was super fucking impressive. Yeah. But along with the Netflix show, they've also announced that they will be doing Act 2 and 3 of the Audible series. The original one with James McAvoy's Morpheus premiered last summer. The next 2 series will adapt the next 5 volumes. I didn't know how many there were of The Sandman up to the World's End story arc. So, again, I don't have anything to add. We just went through the whole diatribe about him in the series, but looking forward to it. It feels like there's a real push for this property as a whole to come to the forefront in different mediums. So I'm excited to go check out the graphic novels, and I guess I'll probably report back once I've poured through all of them. I'm going to get them too. Fuck it. I'll read them with you. Fuck it. Yeah, well, book read. I still got to finish Light of the Jedi, but yeah, you know. I'm still on chapter 4 because I just haven't. Yeah, I'm really behind. Go ahead. I'm just either too tired to focus. Like while I'm driving, I need to like either focus. I find myself like drifting off. Like I'll be like picture like, wonder what that Jedi looks like. Like, oh, tractor trailer. Oh no! Don't do that. Yeah, can't listen to this while I'm working. There's a really, obviously I'm not going to reveal anything, but there's a really cool turn. I don't even know how far into it I am that the book takes, and I want you guys to catch up. I'm not done it either. I still have some left to go, but it's pretty cool. They do some neat shit. Well, I'm about an hour. I haven't concentrated it because I am still reading that other fucking. It's a 1,600 page book, and I haven't finished it yet because I started playing World of Warcraft again, and that's what happens. Everything else falls to the wayside. You're welcome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Nothing else falls to the wayside for me, but it consumes my video game time. It's the only thing I've been streaming. When I have free time to play a game, I'm like, well, I could play Valhalla, which I genuinely want to fucking play, and I just turn on WoW again because there's always something to do. It's the purpose of an MMO. It fucking always gets me. I got a text from Chris at 3 a.m. last night. He's like, I got 2 sleep of level 35. I should really be asleep right now. It was only 2 a.m., but you're right. I should have been asleep. Yeah. I was like, well, I'm 32. I might as well grind this out. 2 hours later. 2 hours later. Okay. New movie news coming up. So we know Deadpool 3 is announced. We've already talked about that. We've had that conversation. Ryan Reynolds tweeted something out about a charity service, and in the gist of that tweet, he ended up revealing to us what the Deadpool 3 plans would have been had not the acquisition of Fox taken place by Disney. So it's very succinct. He just says, before Disney bought Fox, Deadpool 3 was going to be a road trip between Deadpool and Logan, Rashomon style. So before we dive into it, Rashomon style refers to a method of storytelling where the same event is recounted by several characters, but the stories differ in many ways that are impossible to reconcile. Each version is subjective, an alternative, and often self-serving and contradictory. And I mean, come on, that sums up Deadpool to a fucking T. Yeah. I don't care how they would have brought Hugh Jackman as Wolverine back, because we know he died at the end of Logan, spoiler alert, or if it just took place before that. They probably would have had a reverse Thanos snap, bring him back by mistake or something. Yeah, like that's true. He would have just riffed off. Yeah. But there's nothing more that I would have enjoyed seeing. He joked about Hugh Jackman both breaking the fourth wall and via Wolverine, and we know their relationship is tepid at best, tenuous at best, in the comic books. Scott, I think you're super sad boy about this, right? Does this make you sad that it's not happening? Yeah. I mean, honestly, like I am excited for the Disney acquisition of Fox because we're going to see all these characters brought into the fold. But I feel like there's gonna be a lot of fallout of it in the same vein. Like Deadpool, we're not going to see Deadpool until everything else that's already on Marvel's slate has been filmed and released now.
which means we're probably looking at a 4-year gap until we get another Deadpool movie. I would have much rather had Fox do their own fucking thing and release something like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And in the same vein, like we're, I mean, Disney's bad, right? Like we just gotta pull the band off and say like they're evil, they're bad, they're wrong. It's awful.
Yeah, we try to say it once an episode.
We're not even gonna go into the anti-Semitic Walt Disney stuff. It's out there, you know. You can Google it, but
no, really Google it.
What about those crows in Dumbo? Huh? That was racist. Fuck you, Walt Disney. But if your head is cryogenically frozen somewhere, I hope someone shits in the icebox next to it. But it's just, I don't know, man. It's too much. Like Disney owns everything, and it's going to get to the point where their schedule is already so bloated with everything they had planned. Watching them attempt to pepper in all these other franchises that fans have genuine love and respect for and are excited for is going to be painful to watch for the next 4 to 5 years as they try to integrate things. You know what I mean? Like, because they may want to produce and release another Alien movie or a Predator movie, but they're gonna have to make sure it's not competing with any of their other films in the market, which means it's gonna release, you know, it's gonna release whatever the fuck. They don't have something else better to put out in their eyes.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like they own so much shit now; they're basically competing against themselves for release dates.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder how that works internally.
That end, like, it's so late in the game to introduce mutants that any way they do it is gonna feel tacky and like an afterthought. You know what I mean?
You think so?
Yeah.
Because we might be seeing the slow introduction of in one.
Well, I mean, House of M, using House of M to introduce them without having her without her having had like blinked them out of existence in the first place is stupid. It's dumb, bad.
True.
I'm sure it's bad writing, is what it is. It's probably what's going to happen, but it's going to be bad writing. It's going to be bad.
Fair enough.
It's going to be where I don't give a shit about anything MCU anymore when they do it. It's a matter of weeks, probably.
Oh, Derek's excited then.
No, I'm like legit. Like I'll still watch the giant tent. Like I'm going to see Multiverse of Madness because Sam Raimi is an awesome director, with the exception of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
God awful.
We can forgive him for that. We got Evil Dead 1, 2, and 3. We got Spider-Man 1 and 2. All right, we got a lot. I know you count Drag Me to Hell in there. I don't, but that's okay.
Drag Me to Hell.
I liked Drag Me to
Hell. Is fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's
the only time I ever watched it was at like 4:30 in the morning. Scott put it on when we were fucking shit faced, and I was just so tired. Maybe I need to give it another shot.
Dude, it's the same slapstick style, like tongue in cheek horror comedy that the original Evil Dead was.
Right.
Yeah.
With obviously the gore factor turned down, but the gross out factor turned all the way up to 10. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I just want to say, while we're on the topic of the MCU, that the other day, because we watched, Veronica and I are watching WandaVision, of course, everybody is. And there's a couple scenes every now and then I'm like, maybe I should show you this scene from that movie so that makes a little more sense. And so like I watched a couple scenes from Infinity War, and I know I've said before that I like Infinity War. And like when I'm was bobbing around all these different scenes, I'm like, this is like the best MCU movie. Like this is Infinity the best
War?
one.
It's very good.
It's so good because it obeys none of the fucking bullshit annoying rules all the other ones have. They fail the entire time. They constantly fail throughout. From the beginning, you get Loki gets choked to death. I mean, it's like they set the rules immediately. Like people don't just come back. People don't just, live when they should have died. It's a fucking great movie. I just wanted to give you guys that. It's a fucking good movie.
What do you mean, you guys? What is this?
But
Derek versus Scott and Chris's tastes?
No. But let's be clear though. Like if they do
just on the MCU,
if they do House of M rules and they bring back mutants without them ever existing before, like if she just brings them or just creates them because she says fuck it. It's so bad. It's gonna be so fucking terrible.
I think there's a way they could do it, but we'll see.
We'll talk about that in like a half an hour.
Can't wait to talk about that.
Not a half hour. No, we don't have that much left to talk about. Derek, how do you feel about the potentially abandoned Deadpool Logan news?
I mean, like, I want to be sad about it, but I know that like Hugh Jackman for years has been like tired of playing Wolverine anyway.
Yeah.
So there's really no telling that he would have even signed on to it to begin with.
Can you imagine like, I'm sorry to interject. Can you imagine like Hugh Jackman and even like Chris Evans at this point? Like how exhausted they had to have been for having to hold up that physique for all those years.
I know. Like, and Hugh Jackman's like 60 years old. Like he's not a young guy anymore.
Is he really?
He got so progressively
probably
ripped.
not 60, but let's see.
He's getting up there. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like 59 or something.
No way, dude. He doesn't even look like he's 45.
He's insane. 52 years old. Yeah. He's
no,
52.
Yeah,
cool.
So not 60. It's not. Sorry, Hugh, if you're a listener.
Yeah, sorry.
Also, thank you.
If you're a listener. I love the optimism. I remember reading an article from him back when like the Wolverine was coming out, that stinker of a film. And he was talking like, I don't read Men's Health, but it was a Men's Health thing that I just happened to see him. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out for a second. And he was talking about his diet and it was god fucking awful. And they did it for years to keep up these physiques. And I like more power to them, but I can't imagine they are so happy to be done with that shit.
Plus, I think that like you see it with RDJ and MCU too. At some point, he was just like, I want to do other shit. Like I'm tired of always being at these same sets with these same people. Like,
right.
It's got to get exhausting at some point.
Yeah. All right. We'll move along. Next thing up is a trailer for a thing none of us knew existed until we saw the trailer. None of us wanted, still don't want after the trailer. There is a series coming out called The Mighty Ducks Game Changers. Did you think I will be insulted. Did you think I was going to like this?
Me?
I'm waiting for him to answer. No, the Chuckle House over here.
I thought when it was in the thing and I watched
no more Dane Cook references.
I was
Jesus Christ.
That's like, no longer a Dane Cook reference. It's drilled into my fucking brain. It's just a me reference.
Let's bore a hole on the other side and get it out of there.
Like the cerebral bore from Turok 2, bro.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, you're all welcome. That weapon was amazing.
I didn't know if your nostalgia was turned up so much that you'd watch this trailer and be like, yeah, that was the worst thing ever. It was terrible to watch.
No. So there's a new series coming out called The Mighty Ducks Game Changer. It's coming out March 26th. I had no idea it was even being made. Now it comes out in less than 2 months. And the premise, from what I can follow, is the Mighty Ducks, because of the championship wins by Emilio. I had to do that. I'm sorry. By Emilio. Wait, I didn't hear Scott say anything. Did your mic?
Did you just open your mouth?
No, it definitely muted me because I was real loud. But it'll be there. It'll be there when you put it all together.
I'm excited. Oh, I got you. So Emilio, when he won, according to this, it looks like after he won those championships, the Ducks organization became like synonymous with like youth athletics, and they became this big organization. And then Gilmore Girls, Lauren Graham, her fucking son, tries to get into the Mighty Ducks and can't because he sucks at hockey, and they tell him no. And
how much backstory you have to give before people are supposed to give a shit about these tertiary characters again?
I don't know.
like even like just knuckle puck and shut the fuck up. Like that's just do it and shut the fuck up.
If we could put fuck in the title, it would be Knuckle Puck and Shut the Fuck Up, because it flows
good.
well.
Yeah. I mean, you can just
censor it.
You just bleep out.
Right.
It.
2 asterisks. Yeah. That's all you need. F
Knuckle
asterisk,
Puck and shut the
asterisk
fuck up.
K. Knuckle Puck and Shut the Fuck. That's perfect. I'm now just gonna think of the terrible image I'm gonna use for a thumbnail this week.
It should just be Emilio Estevez in line for food stamps, probably.
Oh my God.
I was going to say, we haven't seen Emilio in anything. And let's be clear, time has not been kind.
Let's also be clear, we didn't miss him. No one was like, hey, where's Emilio at?
No,
he has jowls on the side of his head, but the front and back too. It's like, normally it's just one axis that you have it on, but all right.
He's got jowls
Emilio.
on jowls.
He was like, he got Botox into like the side of his neck. It's real fucking weird.
He got like the lip injections into his jowls.
Yeah, it's all it's collagen all the way down.
He's like, plump these bad boys up. Can you just plump these up?
Give me my dimples look like little buttholes, please.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Nowhere else, idiot. Put them right here.
Can you make my worst imperfections unavoidable?
Oh man, can you make my face a nightmare to look at? Okay, so yeah, I think I finished that synopsis. It looks like Emilio comes back to help form a team for these kids who feel ostracized by whatever this current team is.
Oh, so he's making a team to go against the Mighty Ducks, the bad guys now.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a real Cobra Kai they're pulling here, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's almost like they saw the success of it.
And did exactly the same thing. Yeah.
Are doing exactly the same thing. This looks, I don't know, like one of those cash grab things where they just were like, what series can we make with an old actor that has the nostalgia factor?
Cobra Kai is like a weird thing in that William Zabka is likable because of the other stints he's done since he was the bad guy in Karate Kid. He's become a likable actor because of his other roles. So like making him be a likable asshole is doable. Emilio Estevez isn't likable in anything ever. Like the Mighty Ducks might be his most likable role ever, and like maybe Judgment Night because he's in there with Jeremy Piven, and Jeremy Piven's unbearable. So like He looks
You
good
really
by-
hate JP, man.
Oh yeah,
You're
he's
really
a
not
piece of
fan.
shit. He was bald in 1996, and now he has a full head of hair in 2021. Who you fooling, Piven? Who the fuck's buying it, Piven? Not me. Not me.
Listen, we're about to be Bitcoin billionaires, so none of us are ever going bald. Don't even worry about it.
XDG. All right.
Gotta
I've had
buy
enough talk about
that W coin.
Emilio. All right, so moving on. We have two pieces of.
Can I just
box
say that's our
office-
most efficient article ever? That we got all of our opinions out in the introduction. Like it's done. There's no round robin. It's just
because
we're getting good
fuck
at this,
that
man.
trailer.
Yeah.
We're getting good at shitting on terrible things.
Yeah, if only all of our articles were about bloated, almost dead actors trying to resemble
Oh Jesus! Oh no! Fuck, knuckle puck and shut the fuck up.
Like if Emilio Estevez was like lunch meat, he'd be that lunch meat that's already pre-cut at Walmart with the expiration date circled in red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know,
it's
like
in the fridge when it's warm when you grab it. Ugh,
yeah, it's like
what's
well, like this here, like they cut this meat because this meat was gonna go bad in the case. You got 24 hours until this will kill you. You better make a sandwich right now, or move on.
That's how they felt while they were filming the series too. They're like, we got to get this tape rolling because he's not long
He's
for
on
this
his
world.
way out.
Yeah,
How is
boys.
it that Emilio Estevez looks worse than Ron White now? I don't understand what the fuck happened.
Guys, we got to wrap this. Have you seen his jowls?
Yeah.
All right, two pieces of news. They are both box office related, and I brought these up because it's interesting to me. And if it's not to you,
Go
whatever.
fuck yourself. Go to another podcast. We
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
care. This is what we're talking about.
Basically.
God damn it!
But don't leave though, please.
Don't leave. We love you. I'm sorry.
Two things, both related around streaming releases. The first is around the movie Soul that I still haven't finished. I watched like half of it and some change, and I need to get back to it. There were reports, and so wait, what's going on?
I have an idea for a found footage film.
oh, hang on. Hold the presses, and elaborate, please.
It's just real life footage of Emilio Estevez's colonoscopy.
Yeah, it sounds horrifying. Definitely get that R rating.
Yeah. Do you think the doctor's just screaming Emilio the whole time? he's cowing in the background.
Well, I mean, he's clearly they put him under for it because he's fidgety. He's not going to comply. You know what I mean? But even when he's sleeping, like he's like running in his sleep like a dog. You know, like when a dog lays down on the carpet on its side and like has a dream that it's running.
And the jowls are
Right.
going with it too. They're just bouncing up and down
Yeah.
like
Well,
fucking
his
gills
jowls
underwater.
lead the gallop. Like they have like their own sentient.
The doctor's getting ready to start the colonoscopy, and he's like, "How do his ass cheeks have jowls too? I don't understand."
Are those really
All right.
terrible hemorrhoids, or is this some kind of weird?
The answer is inconclusive, and also
Just
yes at the same time.
a weird mutation in evolution is what it is.
Okay, so our box office news, they're trying to basically equate how well something did on a streaming service to roughly what it would be in a theatrical debut. And I guess they're doing that off a couple of things. Average ticket price in 2020, how many people watched it or subscribed to the service, the actual viewing minutes, all this kind of shit. And they're kind of tallying this together because this is our new world we live in. We're going to be having a lot of streaming releases over HBO Max in the next year. Forbes did this breakdown of the Nielsen numbers for Soul, and both of these articles revolve around the Nielsen numbers. And the long and short of the story is that Soul was viewed for 1.669 billion minutes for the week of Christmas, aka its opening weekend. And on the math they did said that comes to like 146 to 177 million opening weekend, which sounds about right for a domestic box office for a Pixar film. It sounds pretty good.
Mhm.
The way they get to that is interesting, but if these are the hypotheticals that they're going to start using moving forward for how they do and what they invest in next to create, then I'm optimistic, because if they can get these numbers and tell studio suits that this is what it basically did for you monetarily, we might continue to get these day and date streaming releases, and I'm all for them. I don't have to leave my fucking house, and I love it. So if other studios besides HBO Max is what I'm getting at can see this and go, okay, then, give me, I want more of it. There's another article about this related to Wonder Woman, but before I do that one, does anybody have anything they want to tag in there?
Yeah, I'm not optimistic. I mean, how much are they losing on that? So the fact that they're like really paying attention to those numbers and like what they would have made if it was released there, to me says they're finding out how much they didn't make and that's probably going to lead to them making shitty decisions, not decisions that are agreeable to us. I mean, I know we talked about it like a couple episodes ago, but like factoring in, you pay a monthly fee for one service, right? But you just pay that flat fee and then you can watch whatever comes out in that month as many times as you want.
Right.
Whereas if one service, Disney, releases 4 movies in a month, you're paying one time for 4 movies. You know what I mean? Rather than like having to pay individually each time. So I think that this is their way of going like, fuck, we're missing out of money. Maybe we should, you know what I mean? Like maybe we should restrike this deal that we had, like in HBO Max's case, maybe we should restrike this deal that we had, or I'm sorry, Warner Brothers case. Maybe we should restrike this deal that we had with HBO Max. That's my concern anyway. There's nothing telling that would, there's nothing out there saying that's what they're doing, but that's just what worries me about it.
It's a valid concern. I think on the other hand, they also have to look at, if the people who subscribe for these films specifically stick around or not, because at that point you've got a recurring revenue, which is way more valuable for them than a one-time box office receipt for most viewers. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It's a complicated equation that I don't have the fucking answer to. That's a good and unique viewpoint. I wasn't concerned when I first saw this about it might be a bad thing for them to see these numbers. But
I'm glad I can drag you straight into hell with me then. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I think it's important to note that Warner Bros. Is owned by AT&T. AT&T's Warner Media, which is also the parent company of HBO and CNN. So they're basically looking at it as we can either make no money right now, or we can boost our subscriptions to a service that is providing, or that is making money for us right now. Because releasing these theatrically by themselves, they would lose more than they would doing it the way they're doing it, right?
For sure.
100%.
We've seen them double. I think the subs in the month of January alone almost doubled for HBO Max. Am I right?
Yep.
It's up from, I think it was like 7 million to almost 16 or 14 or 15 million. So I mean,
and for clarification, I meant like as compared to if there was not a fucking global pandemic happening.
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from, and I think you might be right. With some releases, they might push bigger things that they have higher expectations for. But I think we are going to see them rolling out more of the let's call them second string cinema releases they have. They're probably not going to put out something like, if this is prolonged any longer than we already expect it to be, we're not going to see them putting out Matt Reeves' The Batman on HBO. We're not going to see them putting out any of they're not going to give us they're going to show us their full hand. But we might get, Mortal Kombat and a few other things, Kong versus Godzilla, all this dumb shit that they're popcorn movies, but they don't have the highest expectations for those films. Those films aren't grossing, like $800-something million domestic.
Yeah.
So, I think we might see them rein back some movies, some of their bigger ones that they have higher expectations for, and save them for when they can get that full chunk of change off of them. But a lot of what I've seen on their slate for 2021 doesn't seem like they have any big blockbusters listed, aside from Wonder Woman, which they already dropped and already has done well for them as far as subscription. Yeah,
and right off of the heels of that statement, thank you for the transition. And this is a quick one because we've just had all the conversation about this that is really warranted. Wonder Woman apparently did fucking gangbusters for HBO Max. It was not only did Wonder Woman 1984 win the week ahead of Soul for streaming, it was the highest rated program since Nielsen started releasing streaming numbers in August 2020. 2.25 billion minutes of watch time, equaling to about 15 million complete viewings of the film in that week of Christmas. It's, the HBO Max executive VP.
15 million?
14.9 million complete viewings in the week of, the first week. The impact, this is according to the executive VP, general manager of HBO Max, Andy Forssell, said, the impact of 1984 on HBO Max cannot be understated. So they're fucking stoked on it. I mean, obviously, like you said, HBO Max was the newer streaming service. They're trying to build their ranks up. Undoubtedly, can't even overstate the impact that it's had on the streaming service for them. So that's sick.
I mean, they're looking, if you break it down and say that each ticket is, let's say it's $20, right? Everyone's going to see a weekend evening time movie. I mean, they're looking at 298 million roughly what they would have made on this box office. So I mean, like even with the HBO service, it still would have been considered a box office flop right now. With everything going on. I mean, I feel like they might be looking at this as like, I think they're going to look at it as a positive, honestly. When you see those numbers, it's not like, I mean, and you also have to take into account that people probably were watching it multiple times on a singular account. They're breaking it up by minutes, not by subscribers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which would still account towards another ticket price, though.
Yeah.
That's true. But I mean, it is during a pandemic, so obviously they have to take that into account. And they still did make box office money. I mean, not for nothing. They're tiny numbers because of the pandemic, but they were still the highest grossing film for 3 weeks in a row, I think, on the box office. So, whatever. It all comes down to a head of me just saying, more studios, please release your things to streaming, because I am a homebody who doesn't like leaving his house. Yeah. And I'd appreciate it. Thanks. All right. We have our main topics today, Derek.
I just, before I take my pee break, I just want to let you guys know. I have made a conscious decision, despite what we said about it last week, to care about Godzilla versus Kong. I care now. I'm Team Kong.
Mm-hmm. Team Monkey.
Team Monkey. That's right. Team Monkey all the way. I'm going to watch it the day it releases. I'm going to watch King of the Monsters before then too. I'm going to get caught up.
Shit.
I'm bored, man. I need something right now. And I'm Team Kong, motherfucker. I'm all in on this shit, and I want you two to pick one right now.
I thought Scott was already Team Kong as well.
Yeah, I am Team Kong. Yes.
I mean, and for Unity, I'm going to go Team Kong.
Team Kong. We're all wearing glasses tonight, baby.
It's just us versus Peeb right now. It's just the three of us kicking the shit out of Peeb verbally. That's all it is.
Sorry, Peeb, but you're going to lose.
Sorry, buddy. Yeah, you're going down, motherfucker. I'm going to go take a piss.
All right, Kong is best boy.
I'd like to take this time to not only show for us, but to apologize to John Ritter, whom I said terrible things about. Well, I said one bad thing about last week. But
did you?
But John Ritter, you were in life an absolute joy, from Problem Child 1 to Problem Child 2. You were an absolute gem.
But that's it, nothing else.
Well, so I mean, Three's Company was pretty dope too. Suzanne Summers' ass was just chef's kiss in every episode of that show ever. And you didn't stare at it. You still managed to look at the camera and break the fourth wall almost unintentionally all the time.
Right.
Yeah. But also she'll streak, right?
Yeah, Shill Cincinnati. So I'm going to start off.
I have to ask you: Is Shill Cincinnati supposed to be Cincinnati?
Yeah,
that doesn't.
I don't know why
that doesn't rhyme.
Yeah, I know. It's not. You don't have to. It's not supposed to make sense.
Okay.
I honestly don't know why Shill Cincinnati is something that comes out of my fucking mouth, but it does. It's probably a reference to Dan Cook somehow. I mean, one can only imagine. But yeah, so if you want to find us on Twitter, you can. You could
do Cincinnati Chili, since they have Cincinnati Chili.
That's pretty good. If you want to find us on Twitter, it's at the Schmeg Nerd. That is SHMEG Nerd. And you can. There's a couple ways. First off, just tweet at us. You can say whatever you want to us. We're not going to be offended. If you want to ask us a question, you can end it with hashtag AskTCN. And if we fucked up, or if you just want to bang one of us, it's hashtag FuckTCN. What about the Facebooks, Scott? How do they find us on the Facebooks?
We are the Cynical Nerd on Facebook.com.
That's correct.
That one seems. I answered that like it was a trick question. I felt like it. Like that's such a.
Was I the teacher in high school who like asks you the overly obvious question?
Yeah, and you're like
say it.
Like, how is this a trap? This is a trap somehow. Yeah. I don't know how.
How are you fucking me, dick? So okay, and then you can also email us questions at thecynicalnerd.com. If you still use email as your primary form of communication, it'd be weird if you did, but hey, we're not here to judge you. As long as it's not an AOL account, in which case I'll delete it instantaneously. I'm not even going to read it. Won't even do it. You still have an AOL account, Derek?
100%. It's I couldn't think of anything funny quick enough. We've all been there, right?
Yeah, I'm there all the time. I'm there most of our podcast. I'm like, shit, come on. They're going too quick. I need to catch up. All right, boys. We have two topics, both of which I am excited to talk about. I also want to congratulate you two ahead of time. We have not said a word to each other about the first topic, which is the WandaVision episode 4. I'm going to do, and the other one is the horror film we talked about last week that was also made by the creators of Psycho Gorman, called The Void, which I'm fresh in my mind. I just finished watching it about an hour and a half before we did the podcast. For WandaVision, I'll do the same thing we always do. A real brief synopsis, then we'll do conversations, any deep details one of us might have caught. So this episode is basically the behind the curtain episode. It's called "We Interrupt This Program," and it kind of backtracks a bit to show us how SWORD, which is the organization we all thought was there, and they've been heavily hinting at, also the FBI, how they've kind of discovered what was happening, and they tie this episode into the things we've seen previously. They show Agent John Woo, I think it is John Woo, try to reach out to Wanda through the radio, like they did in episode 2. And we see a couple other clever things tying it in. And then we kind of get an idea of who the villain is here, or at least who SWORD thinks it is at this moment. I liked the episode. I thought it was cool. It didn't do anything that surprised me except for one scene, which I will save for later. But Scott, how did you feel about this episode?
I liked it. I liked seeing Marcy brought back in. Kat Dennings.
Kat
Dennings. Sorry. Kat Dennings is charismatic. You know, like always a joy to see on screen. I wasn't gonna.
What happened?
Them titties too.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I blacked out for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. So James, Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He was Scott Lang's parole officer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah.
Playing the same character.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was cool to see him back. He's he
did the magic trick. He fucking.
You fucker! You got it.
Yeah,
you took it from me.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the right moment to interject. Yeah, it was a total Ant-Man callback. Then I've actually watched like a breakdown video. They showed the original scene where he asks Scott to show him how to do it, and then they catch him practicing it. So he got it, boys. He fucking nailed it. Congratulations for your close-up magic, efficient your fucking deets there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
I mean, Randall Park is great in everything. Like he's
good.
He was fantastic in the interview playing Kim Jong-un.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So good in that. Oh my God.
He's on Fresh Off the Boat as well. He has great comedic timing. He's a likable dude, and I really hope this means we might get to see him in Phase 4 a lot more. Saying that, like, I would like to see him become the new Coulson. Honestly, like I would simp so hard for Randall Parks as Jimmy Woo.
I didn't think about it like that, but I would love it if he took that role.
Yeah.
He's not SWORD, right? He's FBI or
he's FBI.
Yeah. Okay.
But it feels like they're going to induct him after.
Yeah, it feels like he's going to be brought. He's going to have a much larger role with the way things are going. Yeah, I mean, like it kind of this episode kind of solidified all the things that we've kind of been like talking about.
Yeah, we were right, everybody.
I mean, there's still.
Yeah, no big deal or anything. Not that we're keeping track.
I mean, let's. I know we're not going too in depth, but let's start with that fucking opener. That fucking heartbreaking.
Oh, dude, it was
opener.
So good.
Like I know we always joke around, Derek, and we always bust balls about there not being any long-lasting ramifications in the MCU of anything that happens. It's always all just undone. But like to see Monica Rambeau come back from like. Well, at first I thought she was being materialized by Scarlet Witch. I thought like something.
I did too.
Something weird was going. And then as I'm realizing what's happening, I'm putting all the pieces together. People are like unsnapping, which was really weird to watch. It was almost more disturbing to watch people rematerialize than it was to watch them fall apart.
Yeah,
I thought that was cool, and just because I had never thought of like the reverse snap being a bad thing when it initially happened. Like you think like, well, everybody's back, so that's cool, right? But it's like that panic, and I just never considered like, yeah, maybe you'd come back and your whole fucking family's dead for some reason, like those kind of things.
Yeah.
I never thought of. So like the concept of it, I thought it was very, very cool. Dude, the acting in that scene was like one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. You guys go back and watch that first 3 minutes again and tell me it's not embarrassing.
I got to put my Derek glasses on and rewatch it because I like Scott. I thought the scene was fantastic. When me and my wife realized what was happening, we were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, conceptually amazing. I'm telling you, conceptually, I thought it was great, but like the acting was like, "Oh my god, what's happening?"
There's such cool shit like happening in the background. Like she's walking by a room and you see a dude materialized next to a hospital bed. Clearly, he was there visiting somebody who was no longer in that bed. Yeah. She's like, "Who the fuck are you?" But before we, do the deep dive stuff, Derek, about the episode overall, how did you feel?
Overall, I ended up liking it. Like I said, the acting threw me off in the beginning. I hate what's her name, the chick, her
Kat
voice.
Dennings.
Yeah, it's like having fucking earmuffs that are rusty.
Wait, Kat Dennings, really?
Yeah, she's just the worst. Her voice just makes me feel awful. It's like an anti-gasm. Like it's dark and inward and dry. It's awful.
How do you feel about having a raging erection from looking at her while also hating her voice?
She's like, I'm not saying, all right, she looks good, but I'm not saying that doesn't fix the voice. It doesn't fix the voice.
What if
the voice is terrible.
What if she
her acting is like, she's the same character in everything she's in. She was in that terrible sitcom, Two Broke Girls or whatever it was called.
That was really bad.
She doesn't.
That show wasn't great, but that show bought Whitney Cummings a house, right? So you'd be nice.
Okay,
that's what we're all thankful for.
Whitney gets dressed in that house. I mean, she also gets naked in that house. It's a great house.
10 out of 10 house. I don't. Weird side tangent, but I'm about it.
Ultimately,
dude, mark my words. Whitney Cummings will be the next Oprah. I swear, she's gonna be like the female podcast equivalent of Joe Rogan in like 3 years. She's gonna.
I'm marking it.
Yeah, she's gonna be. There's no way she's not.
The episode totally came around for me. Like I thought it was cool to show some of the stuff that, you know, like we'd said in the other episodes, we kind of had an idea that we knew what was going on, and that solidified it. I thought it ended well. It answered the question we've been asking. You know, does Wanda know what's going on? She clearly knows what's going on. She's willingly participating in her own delusion because it's comfortable for her. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a great episode.
And I'm glad you didn't take the other piece of thunder for me that I've been waiting to talk about, which is we've discussed before. This show has a little tinge of horror in it. It's not overt, but there've been creepy shit here and there that takes place, and just because of the nature of it. And this one, by far and away, had me do the mouth gape for a second when she looks, and I know you guys both know exactly what I'm talking about. She looks up after having just expelled Monica Rambeau and looks at Vision and sees the dead husk Vision,
heartbreaking,
with the fucking like head implant from Thanos' finger. His eyes are just glazed over. He's horrifying to look at, and it's also disgusting to think about. So I have a question. Is she animating? Is she like basically puppeting his corpse around and seeing what she wants to see? And if she is, does that mean she's fucking a corpse? Is Wanda confirmed necrophilia?
I just want to say that we're all pretty much sure that Vision is actually dead at this point.
Oh yeah,
he's a self-thinking thought, right?
That's got to be it.
Yeah, told you.
So here's the thing.
You did.
Yeah, we all called that shit. So here's the thing.
I didn't. I thought he was actually like somehow in some way alive. The only other thing that, again, we bopped around in Infinity War, Veronica and I, we didn't watch the whole thing, but like the part where they're trying to remove the stone from him, they have like the outlay of it on the screen up there. And so we were thinking like, is he a weird copy of Vision? Like, did she somehow get that schematic from Wakanda's computers and sort of but that's probably more complex than.
So here's the thing. I mean, we know that her powers are to warp reality, like actually warp reality. So my running theory is that I know she's only doing this on a small scale, but she doesn't have powers of illusion. She's not Doctor Strange. What's happening in that bubble is real. Yeah, insofar as she's forcing it to happen.
Only inside that bubble, though.
Exactly.
Which is what we were talking about like the other week. Like when it all comes down and she's forced to leave that bubble, the kids aren't going to exist outside of the bubble. Vision isn't going to be alive outside of that bubble. And
and that's why when he said we can leave here if you want, and she said no, we can't, because if he left, he'd die. He'd be dead again. Yeah,
I have a sneaking suspicion something is going to happen, and maybe that something is. She's going to have to make I still think 100% there's an outside force that helped her good. Obviously, I don't think she would go full on basically villain status for this. I think that Agatha knows some shit that she's not letting on. They couldn't find a driver's license for her. They couldn't find a real person to link up to her.
Either that or
when they were doing the missing persons.
Well, they did say something along the lines of they told Monica or Rambo they were sending her there for a missing person. There's something like witness protection. What if Agatha is in witness protection, which is why there's no proof of her. You know, there's no record of her being there because she's not actually Agatha. It could be them. They could be pulling what they did in Iron Man 3 with us right now. Having Agatha be so close to Agnes, they could be trying to pull a Mephisto, like a switcheroo, like they did with fucking the Mandarin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My thoughts are we're probably if Mephisto is going to materialize in the MCU, it's probably not going to be until Multiverse of Madness. We might see her make a deal with him to bring the kids back that she lost here. I don't think he's influencing her in this. I think this is just a way for them to show, like, again, like, mental illness can affect anybody. She lost everything. She has had a horrible childhood, traumatic childhood. She's internalized all these things, and now they're manifesting themselves in this horrific way. I don't think it has to be a demonic possession or anything like that.
You're right. It doesn't have to exist, and I would be fine if there was not an outside force. I just think that they're going to show that, like, she didn't turn crazy on her own. Like, there's some, not just the loss. She's been coerced by some. But either way, this series has the potential to do for the MCU what it has never been able to do on its own, which is fully flesh out a villain and then make you feel bad for them, because I feel terrible for Wanda.
Yeah.
Like you said, she's lost everything. Her family in Sokovia, her brother, her boyfriend / lover, Vision. And now, even though she knows it's a fucking illusion, but she's doing it to comfort herself or whatever the end goal here is going to be. She had fucking kids here, and she's going to lose them, and that's going to be terrible to watch. Like, regardless of what other shit she's done, it's going to be heartbreaking. And a video I was watching kind of brought to light, like, a moment in the trailer where there was a moment they showed in an early trailer where Vision walks up to Agatha when she's in a car, and, like, he's in full costume, and he taps her head, and she's like, "Am I dead?" And he was like, something, I forget what he said, but he, at some point, I think he realizes the illusion and is, like, actively working to help break Wanda out of it to, like, save her. And ultimately, I think it's going to fail. And I think the whole series could end up being one big tragedy that leads us into Multiverse of Madness, where she is ostensibly the villain force that they're working against because she's losing it.
Yeah.
And
well, that
ripping
seems
reality
to be
apart.
like her main driving thing right now is preventing Vision from figuring out what's going on, because she ran into the sword employee, disguised as a beekeeper or whatever, and rewound. There's the part in episode, I think 3, where he starts to go like, something weird is going on, and then it does like a real switch, and it's like the beginning of the conversation again. She throws what was her name, Geraldine, out the house, and like real quick, like looks outside and puts the house back together. It's like her main focus is having him not figure out that whatever is going on is going on. Right. Seems to be anyway.
Yeah. No, and I just, when we first started talking about this series before it came out, we were talking about how, like, the sitcom-y stuff, which is not over with, so that's going to continue, looked really, really interesting and unique, and it has been so far. But that once they started pulling the curtain back, it might feel very samey. And I have to say, with this episode at least, it hasn't for me. I'm really interested to see what happens. Ultimately, they might disappoint with whatever the mystery unravels to be, but I thought this episode was great. Me and my wife loved it. I thought it was, a really interesting, like, oh shit, okay, because there was some cool reveals.
Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, just to see how they're setting up, really, like, the next phase of the MCU is a large chunk going to be influenced by this series, which was not intended. Marvel didn't want this to come out first. Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to come out first. Right. So, I don't know. I think it's great. And before we move on to the other things, you guys have any final thoughts about it?
Just to agree that the part where she looked at him and he had the fucking depression in his head, and she, like, darts her eyes down to the floor, like she can't even look at him. Dude, fucking ripped my heart out of my chest. That was like a hard scene to watch, and it was like 3 seconds long. That part was like brilliantly done. Brilliantly fucking done.
Yeah. I remember watching it, I was literally like, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, that sucks. I remember thinking how brutal that scene was in Infinity War.
Yeah. That
they showed it, and I'm like, I know he's not a person, but I mean, he's basically a fucking person. Like, there's no blood, but you just showed him get his fucking head caved in by 2 giant ham-fisted fingers. Yeah. Like, it's brutal, dude.
It's a shitty scene.
I went back and rewatched the scene because I was like, that was a disgusting scene to watch, basically. Like, anyway,
let me dirty myself further.
I'm just really excited to see where it's going, man. I hope we get more of the back and forth, like, between Sword and Wanda and Vision now, right? Because it was kind of cool to see them fill in the gaps, but you gotta kind of wonder how are they going to balance it now that we've seen behind the curtain. Like, how are they going to keep it going in a way that's going to feel it's going to feel true to? Obviously, you said it's split. We talked about how it's split into acts. The first 3 episodes feel very, like, congruent, but now that we're, it's all out in the open, we all kind of, like, have a general idea of what's going on. How are they going to keep building that tension and keep us guessing? So we don't have all, we don't see all the cards all at once, I guess. you know?
Right. I feel like they're going to start switching back and forth now. Because this felt like it was, they were building up to it. And obviously for all the fucking dorks like us who actually look into it and have theories about it, we kind of had an idea of what was going on. And then this was like hey, this is the stage. Like, let's put the cards on the table. This is what's happening.
Yeah.
And now I feel like it's going to be more, she's going to continue the sitcom shit, but it's going to kind of jump back and forth maybe a little bit more. But we'll see ultimately. And also, last note, that Hayward guy, total fucking bad guy, right? He's got to be a fucking bad guy. The sword director.
Yeah, I don't get good vibes from him.
Oh, with the face, he looks like a football coach.
Yeah. He looks like PC principal without the sunglasses.
He does. Holy shit.
He's hard to look at. But there's one scene that I keep waiting to see pop up in the show, and we talked about before about how I think it might actually be the same scene you were talking about where Agnes, right? Is her name Agnes? Agnes and Vision both like
Agnes or Agatha?
Like, am I dead? You're dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like that whole thing. Like, she also there's a scene of them literally in the same exact setup where she recognizes him and says, "You're an Avenger. Are you here to save us?" You know what I mean? Like the whole town is held captive. The whole town knows who they both are. Everyone's playing along for the sake of Vision. Like, but I think some people don't even know that he's dead already. People already know that he was killed by Thanos. You know what I mean? If this is taking place 5 years after the events of his death, there's no way it wasn't all over the fucking tabloids. You know what I mean? Like they might have been printing the tabloids half as fast with half the people around to fucking type it out and fucking print, you know, the National Enquirer, whatever the fuck it is. But they still, you know, like, I'm sure that was big news that so many Avengers, so many heroes had been killed by the same snap.
Right. Yeah. Like you said, I mean, so the just to clarify timeline for those folks who might not have paid attention, they make a comment about how quickly Monica came back to work after she came back, and they said about 3 weeks. So this is about a month after Endgame.
Yeah.
After everybody comes back and the world's been saved. So it's been 5 years since Vision died. Just a month since everybody fucking showed back up, and probably horrific tragedies occurred when they reappeared. Like planes probably crashed and shit. You know, who the people who were on planes might have rematerialized in midair. Like, that's a horrifying thought, right?
Oh my god, yeah. Just imagine rematerializing like at 30,000 feet and your lungs exploding before you can even hit the ground and die. That's fucking.
Imagine being a family member who's like, "Oh, everyone's coming back. I wonder if my brother who was on this flight, he fell to his death."
And then he falls on your front lawn. That's the extent of like non-luck that you have. Wanda was snapped, right? Like I feel like I'm forgetting that for some reason.
Yeah, she was snapped.
She was snapped and then she was brought back. So this is still, even the wound of Vision dying is really only not even a month old for her.
Right.
Yeah.
So remember her attitude in Endgame when she found Thanos and she was about to fucking kill him.
Yeah, she could have killed him.
100%. Yeah. She was literally holding him in the air, ripping him apart. And she was pissed, and she was like, "You took everything from me." And he's like, "I don't even know who the fuck you are." And then she proceeded to start stomping him the fuck out, and got interrupted, and that's the only reason she didn't end the fight right there. So a month after that, and the world saved, but she still has nothing, and that's her mindset right now.
Yeah.
And this takes place, I think, in the timeline before Spider-Man: Far From Home does.
This is before Far From Home.
Yeah, Far From Home takes place a couple months after the snap because it's September. Like they're going back to school. It's the first school year back since the reverse snap.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And now, in retrospect, Far From Home making light out of the people that came back seems really shitty. Oh boy!
Just like the rest of the movie. Anyway,
just different. Completely totally different. You know what I mean?
All right, boys. Last topic we have to discuss today, and we have a little bit of time here to discuss. It's a film that we talked about last week. It's a horror film by the same guys who made Psycho Goreman. It's called The Void. I don't know how to describe this film. There's a little bit of, I don't know. It's like science fiction, but like supernatural. The
writers don't know how to describe it either, clearly.
It's H.P. Lovecraft's Hellraiser, what it is.
Yeah, that's
pretty good, actually. That's
pretty good. And just the general synopsis for the audience. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's been out for a couple years.
It's a 4-year-old movie.
You.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. It starts off. He finds somebody stumbling out of the woods, takes him to the hospital. They get kind of stuck in this hospital by this cult of people with black triangles on their face. Come to find out that a bunch of people you didn't expect to be shitty are real shitty and make things worse. And we end up with a full body, fucking suit of creepy shit and a bunch of weird creatures. And I'm just gonna do my opinion on Front Street. I loved it. I thought it was really good. I was actually even more surprised by the fact that this is obviously a low budget horror film and how good the actors did in it, despite some of them did in it, despite the fact that I've never seen them before. And sorry, we'll probably never see again.
That's fair. Yeah.
Totally fair. Totally fair play.
I thought they were
4
pretty
years.
good. Yeah. That's true. We've had some time. We're almost up to Endgame Snap. Where you been? I thought it was great. I thought they did pretty good.
All of their IMDb pages and their careers were victims of the Thanos snap.
Right.
Yeah,
they're not coming back. No. There's one hospital they're not showing back up in. Boom!
Oh,
Derek, how did you feel about The Void?
I thought there's so many good things, but there's so many bad things. It didn't make any sense. The movie made no fucking sense at all. It really didn't. It presented itself as if it did, which is the only reason it bothered me that it didn't. Like the guy is monologuing at the end, and it's like, is any of this supposed to mean anything? Because clearly you think it's supposed to, because he's been going on for 10 minutes now. Why did his daughter become born in the new pregnant chick? Like where was he pulling her from? The void, I'm assuming, but like how? Like what did he do? And like, why did the cop, the protag, know that like tackling him through that triangle would kill him? But then why didn't it kill him? Why did it make him a normal human again?
I have two things before you continue. I'm sorry. One, I don't think he knew. I just think he was like, I have nothing left. I get stabbed in the back. I'm just going to tackle him through this and see what the fuck happens.
Fair. Okay.
Two, the one thing I did not like about this was the ending, because you could have just ended it with mostly everybody died, but they stopped it and these two people got away. Cool. Tragedy, but somebody survived. Instead, they show him and that other woman who clearly who was fucking dead.
Totally Cronenberg'd. Yeah, she was like Dunzo.
In some Cronenberg. In some weird landscape of the void, in like, what are you teasing? Where are they? You're not going to go into a full sci-fi horror sequel with this. Like, fuck you. Why did you even show me that? I hated the tease of it. But
it was weird. But there's a lot of things that it did well. First of all, the segments throughout where he was sort of glimpsing the void, where like in the beginning he got knocked out and he was seeing those like black clouds and that weird galaxy. Like I love that like nonverbal communication in filmmaking where like you're seeing something that's totally beautiful, but it's like uncomfortable and unsettling at the same time. I feel like match the tone of the rest of the film. I thought that those segments are really well done. I thought that the body horror segments were obviously amazingly done.
Yeah.
And the style of the movie in general was just great. Like, down to like the monsters looked just incredible. All practical effects, by the way. But just the story just didn't. It's okay if it was just like a clusterfuck of like, oh, everything's evil, but to like pretend throughout that there was some thread connecting everything is just, I don't know. It was just incomprehensible nonsense throughout. So
the body horror was very good, and by very good I mean very off-putting. Like watching someone clip off pieces of their face, being like, "We're free now," and also just starting that shot with her pulling scissors out of someone's eyeball. I was like, oh God, fuck you.
Great way to like set the tone of the movie though. Like that's the first like really horrible thing we see is her pulling the scissors out of his eyeball. It's like, oh God, thought he was going to be a whole fucking character in this movie. I guess not.
Yeah, they actually set that conversation up like he's going to be one of the survivors. Here's his personality. And then, no, he's dead. Okay. I would say that horror films tend to fall in a couple of categories for me. No surprise, they do for most people. Of ones that genuinely frighten me, where I'm watching it, I'm like, huh. This one never once made me do that. It was just the gross out fest and like the kind of haunting mystery of like, well, what's actually going on here? Like, what the fuck is happening? Scott, I know you've seen it, but not as recently as Derek and I.
Yeah.
How do you? First off, recommendation was good. I enjoyed it, so I thank you. But how do you feel about
worth
that
the
film?
watch? Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, one thing that sticks out to me, like I'll be honest, the plot was somewhat forgettable. You know, it's been a couple years since I've seen it, and as you're talking about, I'm remembering bits and pieces. Like my recollection was that this crazy guy, her father was trying to, he was trying to find a way to have eternal life, basically, to tap into this other dimension that would give him immortality and untold powers. But I mean, it would obviously change people's physical forms. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It kind of, to me, it kind of had like a From Beyond kind of vibe. I don't know if you guys ever saw that old Cronenberg film From Beyond, where this dude, he taps into this other fourth dimension that we can't see, and these other creatures there see us through this machine he creates, and they kind of come into our world as well. And it's it felt to me like kind of an homage to that, in that like this guy becomes this horrible, mutated, awful looking creature, but it's almost like the Hellraiser movies too. Like you're this weird Cenobite, right? Like you're this fucking like mutated, carved up piece of flesh, but somehow the power that you get, it makes it so that this horrific form you're taking doesn't even phase you. Like it's this weird euphoria that you have. Where,
it's like a dark holy blessing. In some way
like it's this thing like where from the outside you're looking in at these people who are like basically mutilated, and you're horrified by it. But to them, it's almost like it's an addiction, whether it be to the pain in Hellraiser or to the power in the Void or From Beyond. And it's like, to me, it always played out as like a metaphor for like just corruption and power in general, whether it be religious zealots or whether it be Wall Street brokers with billions of dollars and no conscience.
Dogecoin to $1.
Topical, very topical. Just bringing it full circle.
Take it at one.
Yeah. To the moon, boys. Let's put that douche up there next to Neil Armstrong's footprints. Let's do it. The practical effects were brilliant. Everything was stylized so well, from the costumes of the cultists to
so cool, dude. Those cultists were terrifying from the beginning. You're like, they're so it's just unsettling. You get like, and Chris said it. It's like there's no point that ever really makes you jump out of your skin or anything. But the whole movie, you're like, ugh, like you just feel like a little dirty. It builds
this weird. It's like this residual discomfort.
Yeah.
That sticks around.
Residual's a great way to describe it.
Well, yeah, because even the moments they're supposed to feel like lulls when you watch it, like it's just still like the thing you just saw that was like uncomfortable or gross or like volatile to watch stays with you kind of. And it's kind of like, to me, those scenes you were talking about, like where they keep showing him like looking into the beyond, catching glimpses, felt to me like almost like when you like sniff coffee beans in between sampling wines. Like they think it was like a palate cleanser, like eating. It was like eating the fucking the ginger between your sushi rolls. It was like them like trying to like wipe the slate clean so they could find another way to fuck with you and build that tension back up again.
Yeah.
Also, that doctor, his voice was like A1. Oh my god, his voice was like.
I don't remember the sound of his voice at all. To be honest, it's been so long.
You should YouTube him when we're done.
I'm 100% going to watch it tonight because
it's basically Derek in like 15 years.
Yeah, I'd say like 30 if I started smoking cigars, which I should now. Right? That's a good reason to.
I mean, clearly, it's hashtag life goals.
But he had this throwaway line where he's like, "Oh, I obey something that's older than God, older than time," and it's like you could have explored that. You could have made this so much cooler, but you just thought that like one line would suffice.
The problem is they probably didn't have the practical effects budget to show that God.
Yeah. And a lot of those like fucking body horror shots were high and tight and like very limited angles. So clearly they met their fucking budget mark and probably went a little beyond it.
Yeah. So there is it's something that bothers me in a lot of horror films that do supernatural type things, is that they always kind of start to explain what I find to be the super interesting backstory of what's going on, and then they never flesh it out. And this one did a little more than I expected, but it still left me. It was basically left me with blue balls, because like you said, they were like, I serve a higher God, and I'm like, okay, what? Please tell me. I would like the lore. I would like to know what the fuck we're talking about. What forces are we dealing with? Heaven and hell, void and light. Please give it to me.
I got some serious H.P. Lovecraft, like we're talking like monster, like weird primordial old gods that like supersede God and the devil, even like that. And I love that. And please tell me about it. Like I know that people hate villains monologuing, but if he would just sit down in a chair with that fucking rustic voice and tell me everything about his life. So what I just while carving his own eyes out calmly, like a jack-o'-lantern, but like stone face
pieces of his face off.
That's right. I'll just listen to the podcast version. So I'm obviously embellishing a bit, but the one thing that did disappoint me from a story perspective is that I would like to know how he discovered this force. Like, they don't even
tell that's what
you.
I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
Like some little throwaway thing about how he was searching for a way to like bring his daughter back and he stumbled. Like, they say something really, really lazy and offhanded about it. And I just wish they would have said, like, I don't know, I found a fucking book and, you know, something that would lend some kind of air to the lore of like, how did you even figure out that this was a fucking thing to start abusing it to your own ends?
I mean,
you know?
Why was the meth head even in the movie really either? Like, what was his whole like?
He's got to get to the hospital somehow.
The guy who got stabbed in the beginning. That's
called a plot. It's called a plot device, Derek.
That to me was the tie-in though, like showing like the cultists that you see at the beginning. Like, obviously there's a whole sect of these people that have been, you know, like they've been reading like, you know, old, I don't know if it would be Aramaic or what it would be, but like that maybe Babylonian. Like, I'm not sure what Lovecraft based his fiction on. I want to say it was like old Babylonian gods, because a lot of it's like real, like they talk about like the dark black center of the earth. Like they talk about like it superseding dinosaurs, even being like the seed of life on this planet that was corrupted. Like all this weird like loose terminology that doesn't mean anything, but also paints a picture of just a black tar pit full of hate and fuck and evil.
Yeah,
hate and fuck.
Hate
evil.
and fuck.
Yeah, hate and fuck. How else do giant squid monsters reproduce? They gotta fuck, right? They fuck.
They gotta do it.
They gotta fuck.
It's called hentai. It's called hentai, and the world is worse off for it. So it's
well, keeps those people home, doesn't it?
Oh yes, so we're back to bash this.
I will say this though. I like you can see the common thread between this and Psycho Gorman, right? Like it's pretty clear to see
the physicality,
how one led to the other, and I feel like Psycho Gorman is like you have all the scary creatures and the fucking crazy whatever, but you have like this otherworldly dark evil far and away in the universe tucked away somewhere that's now made its way to your front door. So a lot of those themes were there too, but it was just done better in Psycho Gorman. Like it was done, you took this heavy thing and you made it lighthearted somehow. You made it funny. Not that every time you watch something like this, it has to be a comedy, because that's counterintuitive, but I just feel like you could see how they went from this to doing something that's more comedy oriented, I guess, while keeping those core pieces of it, like the practical effects, intact.
Yeah. So two things. One, before I move to the Psycho Gorman correlation, I would say the twist, quote unquote, of the pregnant teenager being in on it actually surprised me. I feel like it maybe shouldn't have, but it did get me.
The same way, yeah. I'm like, I should have seen that, but I totally didn't.
Because I literally thought she was the plot device of like, you're working against the clock because this needs to get resolved. There's people in the hallway. She's screaming. You're like, shut up. She's dying. You need to end the situation so you can save her. And then to find out that she was in on it, and no less very creepily got impregnated by old ass doctor.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And overall, like I said, I really enjoyed the film. And it made Psycho Gorman better for me because it showed me that, one, these filmmakers really enjoy physical horror, like the suits and the makeup and the actual gore on screen, which I love. And also they clearly love building out lore, like supernatural lore of creepy shit. It makes like they're not his paladins, but the Archduke of Nightmares, his crew of cronies, and
they were his dark paladins. Yeah,
the
they are dark paladins.
Paladins Obsidian, they were called.
Yeah, that's right. The unique designs of all those. I just loved it, and it makes that better just having seen that they are legitimate horror directors and not just B movie camp shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really all I have to say. I mean, I don't know, Scott, do you have any like?
Let's be honest here. The FX in Psycho Gorman don't look nearly as good as the ones in The Void do.
Yeah,
but also they're doing everything they're doing in Psycho Gorman, almost all of it done in direct sunlight. You know what I mean, like all of it's done in a place where you can't do that story in a dimly lit corridor or cafeteria the entire time. Like it's I honestly like I liked The Void when I watched it. I love Psycho Gorman, but I think The Void to me is more enjoyable because the child actors in Psycho Gorman are unbearable. They really are like whenever he has a monologue and like I find myself drifting into that like that Blood Machines territory from Shudder. If you guys ever saw that little miniseries.
No.
Oh my god, dude! Like
Sorry.
it's Blood Machines. It's I'll give you my Shudder password. It's literally 20 minutes long to watch all 3 episodes, and it's fucking fantastic. But whenever they would dip into like his backstory, they'd be showing like all that cheap green screen, all the like the bad effects. But it's just like it's like their own little intergalactic nightmare that they're showing you. That to me was like those were the best segments of Psycho Goreman. But then like when he would start getting into one, and she would cut him off to do something stupid, he'd be like talking about the time like he conquered so and so in the battle of whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And they show him like flying towards this giant open maw of a mouthful of teeth, and then she's like, "We're playing freeze tag. Shut the fuck up." And you're just like,
I loved that juxtaposition though.
Yeah,
I loved that.
No, I'm saying like when it brings you back and you find yourself laughing like, all right, that's like fuck. Like I want more of what you're giving me, but also I appreciate that you told me to go fuck myself because that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? Like
he was totally monologuing. You good job cutting him off.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I think that about wraps us up for this week, and you are correct, running a little over 2 hours here. So pretty good time slot. Any final thoughts on The Void before we move on, Derek?
I just thought that it was a great. Scott had said he called it a cross between Hellraiser and something else last week, and I can't remember. But mine is a cross between Hellraiser and Jacob's Ladder, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen Jacob's Ladder, but it just it inspired the Silent Hill series. If you didn't know, but it had that just like hellish aspect to it that both Hellraiser and Jacob's Ladder have, and it was a good watch. I agree with you. Like just my criticisms of it. Of the story anyway, didn't take away from the fact that like just watching that sort of whole thing in play was very, very, very excellent, very enjoyable.
I mean, it does a few things very well, and enough to the point where like it works, but it's not a perfect movie in any way, shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you never sold it to us like that, so
no, it's just interesting.
Yeah, it was just a good watch.
Yeah.
It's a solid Sunday afternoon viewing session.
So the question is, boys, what are we going to watch this week?
The Matrix 1.
I would like to do that.
We're doing a watch along of that, right?
We should do a watch along, and now that we can drink
for
alcohol
next week,
again,
you're saying? Oh, good question.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure it out. We'll have to figure it out off pod. We'll figure out. We can do a horror film. I don't know. We can rewatch.
Has anybody ever seen The Endless?
No, I've wanted to though. I've heard it's really good.
The Endless.
Is that a horror film?
Kinda. It's more like it's like psychological horror.
Oh, okay.
It's weird.
I know
like
you love.
horror.
Yeah, I know you love horror stuff, Scott, and honestly, I like it, but I'm not super huge into it, and therefore have not seen probably most of the shit that you're gonna recommend to me.
I mean, I would recommend The Endless simply because like there's so much to talk about, and even if everyone else but me hates it, there's so much to talk about. There's so much that it does well, even if it fucks up certain things. It's kind of like to me, it's kind of like The Void in a lot of ways. There's things about it that I really liked, things about it that I was kind of cringe at. Yeah. But overall, it's a unique movie. I've never seen a movie like it. I've never seen another movie like it ever. And for that alone, I think it's worth an hour and 40 minutes of screen time.
I mean, you've convinced me. I'm into that. I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm down for that. We can watch The Endless before next week. We'll talk about it alongside our next WandaVision episode review. I enjoy having that plus some other rando horror psychological movie to talk about. It's a good time. That's going to wrap it up this week, gentlemen. And
Dogecoin to $1.
Dogecoin, hashtag Dogecoin to $1.
Take us to the
Derek,
moon.
Dogecoin.
Dankest timeline. Derek, where can everybody find you?
They can find. I'm going to try to say it different this week. I've said it 17 weeks exactly the same. They can find me on Twitch and Twitter. No, it doesn't work.
Nope, doesn't do it.
Dr. Gloom, MD. That's DRGLOO. Wait, did I fuck that up? DRGLOOMMD.
Yeah, you're good.
Got it. Okay.
Hey, Scott, how about you?
It for a second.
Y'all can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Swearwolf with an E. That's SWEARWOLFE. Y'all can also find me on YouTube and YouTube and Facebook gaming. If y'all want to, y'all can do that.
That's pretty good.
No, it's terrible.
You can all find me on Twitch and Twitter. Just at TCN Plays, brother. All right, boys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next week.
Oh my God.
See you then.
Thanks for hanging out.